Okay.
Good evening. Is it working?
No.
Not
Check.
yet.
You know what mine is.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it took a minute to get going. Okay, welcome to the December 17th zoning board meeting. Roll call.
Mr. Burkle,
Present.
Ms. Campus,
Present.
Ms. Gerhard,
Present.
Mr. Luciani,
Here.
Mr. Marzocca is absent, Mr. Giampolo,
Here.
Mr. Orfanidopoulos,
Here.
Ms. Costello, and Mr. Frigiola is absent. Thank you.
Okay, stand for pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces and first responders. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dimitri, she has to read the statement.
What statement?
Announce.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
I hereby announce pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act that adequate notice of this meeting has been transmitted on January 16th, 2025 by the Board Administrative Officer to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, the Township Clerk, and has been posted in the meeting room and in the entrance hall in Town Hall, all pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you. Okay, minutes on 12:3. Anybody get a chance to review them? They should be in your packet, and in case you didn't, you
Any
can.
comments or corrections?
Is everybody that was set to be there, here? That's present. Sometimes that happens.
Well, except Mr. Marzocca is not here.
And I recused myself from that meeting. Is that in here?
You didn't read it? Looking
On the second page.
Okay. I missed it, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, yep, there you are. Okay, any comments? If not, any changes? If not, can I have a motion to approve minutes?
I'll move. I'll
Okay,
second.
Jean and Lori. Okay, roll call?
Eligible to vote, Ms. Gerhard,
Yes.
Mr. Orfanidopoulos,
Yes.
Mr. Luciani,
Yes.
and Ms. Costello. Thank you. For the record, the minutes for December 3rd, 2025 were successfully approved. Thank you.
Okay, public hearing, item number 1.
Zoning Board of Adjustment 2025, Michael Jenkins, 4 Berkshire Court, basketball hoop installed 98 feet from the curb, plus 2.5 feet from the property lines, approximately 10 feet behind the rear fence of the residence, including 12,600 lumen external floodlight.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself from this application. I'll come back later.
Okay, we'll text you when we're ready for St. Minas.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, everybody had an opportunity to go visit the site second time and take a look at the lighting, so I'm gonna go, starting from Jean. You can give us your observations, your comments, what you feel of what you saw, and we'll go from there.
Well, I was,
Wait, before you get started, I have to seat Angela for Vincent. We didn't do that. And Angela, if you want, you can come and sit up here with us.
That's correct. For the record, Angela Costello will be seated instead of Vincent Marzocca.
Okay. And also, I do want to remind everybody that there is no public comment on this part. We closed it last week, whatever that was. And so basically tonight, we're just going to review the on-site visit and have a board discussion and make a decision on this. And then we'll go on to St. Minas, which is kind of going to start the same way with a discussion of the site visit. So come on up, Angela, and then we'll get started. Should have said that to you before, I'm sorry. Just, do I get that? John, give me that folder, and I'll give it back to her. So that way, thank you. Okay, Gene, go ahead. And make sure you have your mic on.
yeah, my mic is on. Basically, I went to the site, and I was very surprised at how much different the lighting was this time around. I was surprised. I didn't see much in the way of lighting in the, on the street or in the cul-de-sac. I guess if, I was across the street, like, around, where 7 Berkshire Court was, and I didn't see any real, I don't think we have a real problem with the lights the way they are now. But
Okay.
that's my opinion. Now, admittedly, there was Christmas lights on too, but it seemed like there wasn't a lot of light anymore.
Okay. Angela?
I agree with the sentiments of Jean. I did also take a look from the 7 Berkshire across the street, and I didn't see, it didn't look like 7 Berkshire had any lights that were lit at the time, so it was easy to see any lights that were coming were going to be from the surrounding area, and it didn't seem like there would be any issues glaring in the windows or anything on their property. So I do agree, it does seem to be much dimmer since the last visit that we had there.
But is it acceptable to you if you were living across the street? Was it annoying?
No, I do not believe it was annoying. I think it would be okay. I don't think
Okay.
it would affect them.
Okay, thank you. John?
I'm going to agree that the lighting, I think the lighting is fine now. Now that what it looks like applicant installed what I would describe as almost a shoebox of basically wood covering much of the lighting. So as long as that shoebox structure remains over the lighting, I no longer see an issue with the lighting. But my concern still remains. Whether or not this meets the specifications of or is in fact a sports court, and if it is, have the necessary measures been met for that? And if I have to ask myself, like you just asked, if I was the neighbor, would I be okay with it? I guess my concern would be, especially for the immediately adjacent neighbor whose property comes right up to the fence and comes right up to the
The one on the
basketball.
top coming down.
Correct. My concern, the lighting's no longer a concern. I agree, as long as that shoebox device stays on the lighting. But I guess I'm still concerned as to the issue of whether or not that is in fact still, a sports court, and whether or not it's met, what's necessary for a sports court, especially given that it's right up against the adjacent neighbor's property. Now, I understand that the current adjacent neighbor, I understand, is okay with it. Well, but just thinking now, is the next person who lives there going to be okay with it?
Okay. I think I'm going to let Kate jump in and kind of answer your question and make a comment on what you said.
Sure. So, hi, Chairman, members of the board. So I was not at the prior hearings. Mine and my colleagues was. I have reviewed, I spoke with her and I reviewed the prior videos. So based on the zoning officer's determination, which we agree with,
Were you here at the first one?
no.
Let me swear you in.
Oh, yeah.
So you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the
Yes.
truth, so help you God. So.
Yes. Spatch was here for both of them.
I'm so seeing you, I just didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
no, that's okay. No, she fills me in.
Okay.
I watched some
All right.
I watched videos. So the zoning officer in her denial did classify this as a sports court, which we'd agree with. It is
So it is.
technically, and because of that, there are certain setbacks that apply to that. I think the applicant has given on the record, his case as to why he wants the sports court in that location, along with the lighting. And so, it's, the board is not supposed to consider the fact that it is already constructed, even though it is. But, it really just comes down to classic, it's not a hardship variance, obviously. This is not a thing where the piece of property, anything like that. This is what we call the flexible C variance, where the board needs to determine that the benefits outweigh the detriments and that purposes of zoning are advanced.
You need classification as to what the requirement is, too?
What the requirement would be, now that it's, as I understand, it still is classified as a sports court.
Okay, so-
And let me just say, for the record, while I was not physically present at the last meeting regarding this, I did watch it live and also watch the video afterwards. So I'm aware of what was said at the last meeting.
So Kate, can you just go over again what the ordinance is for a sports court? So that this way John is clear and so are the rest of us. I know we talked about it already a couple times, but
Sure, so there's a provision, it's section 30-105 of the Township Development Regulations. A sports court is permitted as an accessory use to a residence. It includes, you know, any type of sports court. It's tennis court, basketball court, etc. And it shall meet the accessory requirements for a accessory building in the district in which it is located. So for example, and then in here, the located in the R40 zone, or R40A zone, it is technically located in the front yard, and so it is required to be 100 feet from the street. In addition, it would have to be, so sorry.
So when you
Sorry,
say,
it had to be 25 feet from the side yard and 100 feet from the street.
okay, so let's make believe it wasn't a corner property, because it's kind of like a corner property. So then the only thing that we would be dealing with is the front yard setback.
Or you mean the side yard?
Yeah, because the
Side-
side yard is 25 feet, and how close is he to the side yard?
Fencing is 0 feet, the hoop itself is about 2.5 feet.
Okay.
So yeah, and I agree, you know, I think that we get a lot of applications at this board over the years, for example, swimming pools that are on corner lots where it is, you know, it's not so much a hardship, but the fact is that, you know, because it is a corner lot.
Yeah, you can't have two.
And a 100-foot setback's very difficult for
Yeah,
many
definitely.
people
We
to
always
do.
give that one.
Right, right. So just, you know, just technically that is a variance. I just wanted to say it, but I think the one, especially in terms of the neighbor that you're speaking of, it is the 25 feet would be required, the same as an accessory structure in that zone.
And what do they have?
The fencing is on the property line. And
So we
then,
have 0.
And then the hoop itself is 2.5 feet.
Okay. Does that answer your question, John?
Answers my question, yes, and like I said, what concerns me is the neighbor that's currently living there apparently is okay with it, but what's gonna happen, we don't know what's gonna happen with the next person who owns that adjacent, home.
So what do you, is there something that you want to suggest maybe to make you feel a bit better about it?
That was gonna be my next question. I don't know is it possible to approve this, contingent or based on a stipulation that the continuing approval is contingent upon the adjacent homeowner, approving it. I'm guessing that's not possible?
No, you can't really do
that's
that because if you approve this, any future homeowner, you know, anyone who buys this property it'll be
Automatically
there.
have it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll have been there, so they can't come in, and make that complaint then, and a variance does run with the land. It doesn't mean that anyone in the future can put up anything they want there, but once this is approved, this can continue in perpetuity.
Yeah, but
Yes,
we
that's-
could, for example, tell him that he has to put up a fence.
A higher
behind-
fence.
A high fence behind the basketball court, so the balls are not likely to go into the neighbor's yard. We could do that as a condition of approval.
Yep, you're right.
One of the things I would have a question for the planner is, how come we allow a turf field to go all the way up to the front of the house? And don't we assume if someone's putting in a turf field that that's a sports field?
I don't know what you're in reference to.
Well, if you put in a turf field, isn't it usually for a sports complex?
I have not come across any other examples like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, is this something homeowners frequently do?
No, they usually don't do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody puts in a turf field going all the way up to the front, then aren't you assuming that they are going to use it? I mean, what's the reason for doing that? It's to use it like a sports complex.
It would be up to every individual, the zoning officer sees
Kate,
those and
what
reviews
he's referring
those.
to is, the applicant did receive a permit from the town to put in the field, to put in the turf field
No, to put in the fence.
and the fence. And
Right,
that
okay.
was without any hoop or anything else.
Oh,
The
I'm
hoop
sorry.
came
Yes.
second.
Well, because I think the thought there is that, you know, when you write a zoning ordinance, for example here and in many other municipalities, you have to draw a line somewhere. And if someone puts in a turf field, say kids play soccer on it, you can play soccer on your lawn. You know, you can't stop anybody from doing that. But if you put up, you know, permanent structures on there, like, you know, for example, any kind of net or any kind of hoop, something like that, that's when it really formally becomes a sports court. So that's the distinction there.
And the ordinance doesn't specify the type of material, because normally if you were doing a sports court, it's basketball tennis, and that's different material for that. Nobody's gonna put, AstroTurf or whatever that material is.
Some people might put turf for tennis, different types of tennis, but yeah, no, it does not specify because it's also it's the same requirements for a swimming pool, so I think the material's not really,
No, it
isn't
doesn't
as
matter
relevant.
what the
Yeah.
material is. Okay.
So to just sum it up, my concern is not just about future owners of the adjacent home, but I guess I'm also concerned about setting a precedent here, because we would basically be saying that the rules are currently that there's got to be 25 feet. Here there's 0. Are we setting a precedent that we're going to get other applications later asking for similar exception, where it should be 25 feet, they're asking for 0 based on this exception, and the exception that we would be granting here, and is there enough of a basis for that exception?
Okay,
It's not just a couple of feet, it's 25.
I can answer that question, but I'm gonna refer it to our attorney.
Yeah, well, nothing we do is precedential in theory. This application stands on its own. So
And
you-
this can never be used.
Well, it can be, but we'll ignore it.
Right, right. Somebody could
Yeah.
say, you did it for him, but
Well, and for example, John, like they said, this application, every application stands on their own. Zoning board decisions do not set a precedent for the board itself. You have to weigh every case on its merits. So, for example, one of the the negative criteria is, will this have a substantial detriment on the public good? Which, in residential applications is typically meant to think, the immediate neighbors. And this is a case where the immediate neighbor is saying, no, this is not gonna have a detrimental impact on me, which is not always going to be the case. You know what I mean? So even if someone came up and with a similar application and all of their neighbors didn't want it, no matter what it was, anything that's a setback, that's a totally separate issue. Among other things, every application stands on its own.
All right, last question is, we don't take into that criteria, are we not supposed to take into account in that criteria, the interests of future owners of the neighbor's home?
You can't in the sense of property value, nothing like that.
You cannot in the sense of property
Not in the sense of
values.
property value, that's not something that the board can consider. However, I think that's up to you. But you have a neighbor now telling you that they don't think it's a substantial detriment in however many words. But, as a board member, you have to weigh that testimony with your own thoughts on the application.
And that's why this is on its own merit, because
Yep.
this particular situation, and I've seen basketball poles on property lines all the time, people's driveways, and they're right on the neighbor's property line. So this one here is a little different because there's a hill coming down. So it's not like that person upstairs is gonna get the ball going and is bouncing his driveway or going to his house. It's never gonna go up the hill. The most it'll do is roll up and then roll back against this fence. So this is different. That's why we are judging this as its own criteria. This is a unique situation. Maybe another house, we might have the same thing, but it'll be flat. And it'll be the neighbor's driveway there, and the ball would be going on the guy's bouncing on his car or something.
Or it'll be tilted the other way, and every
Right.
time the ball goes
Go
over the
down the
fence,
hill and
it's
fall in his
definitely
pool
gonna
or
end up in the
something,
neighbor's
sure.
pool or something.
So that's why
I
each
see.
one is its own we're looking at it. So the question is, do we feel that it's livable to have it like that? Do we feel we want to have a fence there going up higher? This is what we should think about,
All right.
okay? So let me get everybody
Last
else
thought
coming.
is, I do like the idea of the higher fence requirement, not just because of basketball, because if I recall correctly, applicant testified that a big part of the intention was to basically play baseball.
Right.
So it's not just a basketball, but also, baseball's going on. So I
Right.
do like the idea of, a higher fence.
Okay,
Can I
well,
ask a question? What are the fence
yes, I
rules
was gonna
in
ask that.
area?
Oh.
I'm sorry.
that's okay, you answered, that's fine.
So a variance would probably be, let me just double check real quick.
Okay, well, we'll let her check, and then I'll go on to Lori.
I will say, basically, John has summarized my position 1,000%. I thought the
Okay.
lighting was fixed. I thought you did a nice job with the lighting on your own. I give you a lot of credit for that. My concern the whole time has been the basketball net up against the fence. I understand the limits, but it could have been put up against the house too. It was obviously chosen to be put up against the fence, and I think that's more of a distraction to the neighbor, and it avoids him hitting the house with the basketball net. I am well aware that it was like a kind of permanent structure because it has the cement. But that has always been my concern, is the location and, you know, where the fence is. I understand the neighbor's position, I absolutely do, but I'm also trying to follow like all the rules, and I just think the location is problematic for me, and that's probably the biggest reason these setbacks are in place, is it's right on their line.
Right.
And
Okay.
that is an issue for me.
So, what about what my
I
comment?
need to hear the.
Oh, if you
So
got
actually,
it?
so with fences, this is what I wanted to double check. So there actually is a special provision for sports courts where you can go up to 12 feet above ground level, 12 feet for basketball, tennis, etc. courts. It cannot be fully opaque. It needs to be chain link or something similar, like aluminum, something of that nature. I think this is one thing I will note is that this is a slightly unique situation because a portion of it is in the front yard, and that portion, you know, a variance would be required there because you're not supposed to have a fence. You're not allowed to have a fence over 4 feet in the front yard. So, you know, I think that there's a way to corner lot the front
So
yard.
I think that if we did want him to do that, and we're gonna hear everybody's opinion, we don't have to do the entire property. All we would do is the back section, maybe 15, 20 feet worth around the hoop, Lori. So the ball would never be able to go to the neighbor's house, and yet the rest of the neighbors, once those pine trees grow up, you won't even see it. Because right now he put quite many of them there, and I'm sure in about 5 or 6 years, those things will hide a lot of things, even probably the light.
Yeah, and we can also, you know, as a condition of approval, you know, the applicant can provide a fence plan and we can take a look at it,
Yeah,
you know.
that's right.
But I think some kind of variance would probably be required, and you can grant that tonight.
Okay. You have anything else, Lori?
I do not.
Okay, Francine, left you for last.
Not to repeat a lot of what everyone said, I kind of agree. I was concerned about the lighting, and it's been fixed, and my concern is your fix is a permanent fix, so we don't want to approve it and then come back and find out that's been taken down and the light is intrusive again. So the lighting being fixed, I am concerned about how close you are to the line, but because of the situation, there's not a house right there, it makes it of less of concern to me, because if the ball does go over, it's not going into somebody's yard, driveway, or front yard. Now, putting up the fence sounds a good idea, but I am going to say, in order to solve one problem, are we going to make an eyesore? I'm not so sure I want to see a 12-foot chain link fence coming out of your
It
backyard.
doesn't have to be 12, it could be 10, it could be 8, whatever we want.
But in other
Yes.
words, you know, let's not make the property ugly because we're afraid of a basketball.
Right, but
Yeah,
we
and-
also don't have to do the whole side. We could say 10 feet behind the basketball.
Right,
know.
and also Francine, the way that the ordinance is worded is intended to have the fence like as invisible as possible.
Yes,
Because this is
that's my
a provision.
concern.
This is a provision that applies to residential lots. It
So could-
specifically says material substantially similar to chain link as to not create a solid or closed surface, weaving of material or otherwise creating a closed fence surface is prohibited.
Okay,
And
but
fence shall not be located in the front yard.
yeah, that's my concern. I don't want to pass his house and say, oh my, is there a sports field there? Because the fence looks like a
you don't want
sports
it to
field
look like a
fence.
public, like the
Yes.
playground
Okay,
or something.
but that's where I stand on the issue.
Okay, my turn. So let's go talk about the net first. So tell me, Kate, if we had wanted him to put like a volleyball type of fabric net instead of a chain link, because I kind of agree, I don't know if I would like that, where you maybe put like 2 poles attached to the fence that he has and run them up high, and then just run some fabric type of material type of fence that if sometime he could easily just take it down and you wouldn't see it. That would be allowed?
It would be allowed. I would still consider that a fence under
Right.
this ordinance. Call it like substantially similar to a chain link material.
Yeah,
Even though it's not metal.
Right.
But because especially if the posts are going to be permanent, that's
Yeah.
really the thing.
or
that,
they could just wrap it with wire or ties, pipe. You could they're permanent, but they're not permanent. They could easily be taken out. I'm not telling them to put them into cement. If it was me, that's what I would suggest, instead of telling them to go and get chain link fence and go all the way up.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Would that be that would be still part of the ordinance? So we'll still give him a variance for that, but we'll ask him to prefer, if everybody agrees with me, to ask him to use that type of material versus chain link.
Yeah, yes, that's fine. I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
I think that, you know, I do, then this is up to the board, it's totally the board's call. I think there is some, given, you know, the location of it, I think there might be some benefit to having it be more permanent in nature. It doesn't have to be metal, though. I agree with
Okay,
you.
okay. All right, so now my observation on the lighting. I think that you made a good effort. It would have been better if you would have not done that and waited for us to talk about what you could have done, but you've done it and it's done. And yes, the light is a lot less. You still see a little bit of a glow on your house. I don't know if it's gonna bother anybody that it's that glowing, but then I'm thinking at the same time, if it stays that way and your trees get bigger, it'll probably camouflage it even more. But I would maybe even put in the resolution a special condition that if those lights fail, I wouldn't want you to replace them. I would want you to put a pole, 2 poles, and do the shadow box the right way.
Dimitri, Irina has highlighted something. My understanding is the lighting has not been approved by the building department. So we're saying the lighting is okay with us, but there's no permit, like it's not closed.
The lighting is part of the
No,
variance.
no. You can't
Yes,
talk.
yes, no, that's correct, that's correct. The lighting is part of this variance application.
Yeah.
The applicant
Okay, so
requires a
we have to-
variance for the
We're
lighting.
gonna
Yes.
approve the light.
But that's the electric. That's
Right.
including
The electric has to be approved by the.
Well, I don't know about so construction's totally different, but yes, the
But that has nothing to
actual-
do with
The
us. if-
illumination level is the jurisdiction
That's
of
what
this
we have.
board because he's overstepping what's permitted.
Right. So that's what I would like to see. We put a special condition in there that if those lights ever fail, that he puts the shadow box pole lights on the facing inward. So then it definitely would solve all the issues in the future. Because those lights won't last forever. The sooner or later they're gonna go. So other than that, I'm okay with everything else. I'm okay with the basketball pole because of the condition. That's why every application is judged on its own merits. If they didn't have a hill there, it would bother me, but because the hill is coming the other way, I feel better about that. I'm okay with that. Also, the applicant has made a big effort to shield his property with plenty of evergreen trees all around it. And as I said before, in a few years, they will hide everything. You won't even know there's a court there anymore. So am I happy the way this all turned out? Of course not. We would rather have had it from the beginning, so we could have did it right, but these things happen. You know, for whatever reason, they happen. So that's why we have a board, and we try to help out the applicant, at the same time help the neighborhood and not cause a problem. So I think that even though it's not what I would have preferred, he has reduced the light considerably. I think the street light is now brighter than his lights. When I was standing there, the street lights were bright. That one on the pole was brighter than his lights in the cul-de-sac I'm talking about. So that's my comment.
I just, the ordinance says it has to go off by 11 o'clock, the lights, or is that something
Well, we
that we
can
need to
discuss
have a
that.
condition?
We can discuss that and make it part of a condition.
Yeah, that I would like,
You
no
would want-
lights after.
Well, 11 o'clock is the code.
The
Yeah,
ordi-
that's what I'm saying.
yes,
That's already a
yes,
code.
it is. That is the code.
If you wanted to do it at 10 o'clock, that's a different story. So do you
'Cause he
think
is
kids?
yes, because he is asking for a variance, so you
Yeah.
have more leeway.
So do you think you want to have kids out there at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night bouncing balls, 10:30? Even, you know, don't look now, they're kids. But when they're teenagers, that was where they'll be out there, maybe. So do we have a problem with that, or should we just follow the ordinance and leave it at 11? Anybody have any comments on that?
I don't want to be strict, but if I live next door to him, I wouldn't want the lights on after 10 o'clock, to tell you the truth. And
How
I'm a
does
late, and
everybody
I'm a
else
late
feel
night
about that?
person.
Okay, so is that okay with you? 10 o'clock? Okay, special condition number 1, 10 o'clock. Okay, next special condition is what do you want to do with the fence scenario? We can put a special condition in for that.
Well, quick question. Sorry, if the, like you had suggested before, if you put some kind of fencing, 10 feet behind, or, 10 feet away from the basketball net?
No, on the pole, on the fence.
Oh, on the fence, I thought I heard you say 10 feet behind.
No, 10 feet high.
Oh, okay, I thought you said 10 feet behind, I was
No,
gonna
no,
say.
no, no.
That's what I was gonna say, that's.
Come on,
that's
give me a
dangerous
break,
property.
John. You know me
I
better
thought I
than
heard
that.
10 feet behind, wait a minute.
So how do we feel about that? Do we want to make a condition that he has to put some sort of screening or fencing or whatever you want to call it?
I don't like the idea in general you put something up where you know that the ball's gonna go into the other person's lot. And somebody, the next neighbor is maybe not gonna like to have the kids, especially when they're older, come running in his yard. So I would suggest that in fact, that something should be put, maybe 5 feet out on either side and up to at least,
10 feet?
10 feet, behind.
Okay, so 10 feet, 10 by 10.
10 by 10.
Okay, how's everybody else feel about that? John, I know you had an issue with the pole.
I think that'll help. I think that'll help.
Will that help you with your decision?
Yes, and I don't know, should we also make, as part of this, the condition that the evergreens stay there?
The evergreens stay there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a special condition
Clear,
that
because
applicant
part
shall
of why we're
maintain.
approving this is because the,
The screening.
Yeah,
So he
the
has to
screening.
maintain them and replace them if they die.
correct.
Okay.
Especially in the front of the house, that's the concern. You don't want to put another fence
All
up in
of
the
the
front. Right.
evergreens should be a special condition, have to be maintained and remain as is.
I think just to be friendlier to the homeowner, you just say a evergreen buffer shall be maintained.
Okay.
For example, say you got one runty little one that dies, he doesn't have to go out and replace that, as long as there's a screen that's maintained. 'Cause I
Okay,
think that's the
that's
important
fair.
part.
Visual
Okay.
screen, and again, to be friendly to the homeowner, do we need to specify that they're evergreens? 'Cause off the top of my head, I don't know if that's something that the deer eat, and that the bottoms of those are gonna get eaten up by deer.
No, they're not. Wait, you can't really talk.
No, Green
I might let you talk
giants
later,
are
but
pretty
not now.
deer friendly.
All right.
Green,
This is
yeah,
more discussion.
that's what deer, some evergreens are better than others,
Right,
but
so
in
we can
general-
add the word deer resistant.
Yeah, or it doesn't matter what he plants as long as the screen's maintained. I mean, it's
Okay.
beneficial to him if he
All right.
has
We don't want to
deer resistant.
micromanage this whole thing.
Exactly,
visual
exactly.
screen.
Because
All
he's
you gotta
gonna go
say
and
is a
enforce it
visual
and go and
screen
see
shall
if
be
they're deer.
maintained.
Yeah. Okay, Laura, you okay with what we just said?
Yes.
Okay, is any other comments from the board? Okay,
All right,
sir.
I have one, Kate suggested as a fence plan, is that gonna be part of your condition for the fence? He needs to submit the material.
I
for
don't
Kate.
know if we need to do that personally. Well,
I
You
think
do?
I just think we do, just because again I don't want it to look like that now we're changing the whole area and it's a rec center there.
well, it's gonna be a 10 by 10 screening of,
Yeah, but Dimitri, he wouldn't be able to get, if that's a special condition, he wouldn't be able to get a zoning permit until he shows that he has that. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
he has to
okay.
submit that anyway.
all right, so
We're
fine.
we're not gonna go crazy on it, but I think we wanna,
All right.
just the two things, I think we just wanted something that
They'll
has.
draw something up and submit it to Bill.
That's all, just show us, just
Okay.
show us what kind of material you're gonna use, what height. The only thing that I'll say is about, the distinction, first of all, I think that if it's only 10 by 10, I think that with the location, I don't think that's gonna be a big visual impact if it's chain link. And there does tend to be there can be maintenance issues with that type of like volleyball netting that you're talking about. So I'll leave that up to the applicant.
So
but-
we just, so long as it keeps the ball from
He
going
and
in
it
there.
needs to be consistently there.
Yeah.
If the volleyball net rips, he has to replace it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff like that. And then that's why I'm saying a chain link fence.
Well, wait a minute,
is-
what do you mean, what if he doesn't wanna have it anymore? Because he's not playing basketball anymore?
Well, then if he takes the basketball hoop down.
Oh, so the hoop has to come down, but the fence will always have to be there?
No, I mean, as long as it's only related to the basketball hoop.
Okay, all
But I'm
right.
just saying because like those volleyball nets can rip easily, especially.
Okay,
in winter,
that's
stuff like
fine.
that.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
with that being said, now it's your turn. Do you heard everything the board said in the special conditions? Are you in agreement of everything we talked about?
Structurally, I think 10 by 10 is gonna be hard. There's two segments that kind of overlap right behind, so if we could go up to 10 feet for just those two segments. I
Wait a
think
minute, I don't think your mic is on.
Sorry.
Are you talking about the segments of the
There-
fence that's already
I
there?
gave you guys a picture. I think I might be able to dig one up, but there's two.
So what are you proposing?
The structure between the fence now, there's posts.
How far apart are they?
I don't know, but they're more than 10 feet. We're talking about a little bit more. If you guys are gonna say 10 by 10,
No.
I just wanna say, if I have a little bit of flexibility between those two
Yes, you do
segments,
have.
up to 10, all
Yes.
set.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And to your point, I think it would be difficult to maintain something like a golf net or volleyball. So
Okay.
if you're okay with what's there and it's 4 feet higher, all set.
Yeah, that's.
It's subject to her approval.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
let
subject-
you,
subject-
whatever
I just,
you're
I
gonna
want to
submit-
go and I want to be in compliance with what
Yeah,
you guys say.
absolutely.
Take
So
a
I
picture and show them, submit it to us, what it would
Right.
look like and where
Right.
it would be
I-
attached.
Board professional.
So
Yeah.
as for the special condition, I think what we want this to say is the applicant shall install behind the basketball net a chain link fence or similar material measuring 10 feet high and at least 10 feet in width.
And then 10 PM,
Yes.
it's not,
10
we're not gonna be
PM
on
lights out.
after that, I promise.
And
Okay,
sir,
so
like,
you're okay with everything?
Yeah.
If that's what we're talking about, 10 PM and 10 feet,
And what about the lights that I talked about? If you ever those go down, you're gonna replace, put the poles?
you wanna go posts around, right?
No, I want the post, so the light is going towards your house, it's not shining away from your house, even though you did a shadow box. That's future. It's not required you do it, I just put it in. Can we do that?
Yeah, but you gotta define what a failure is. Half the lights,
I
one light?
would ask if you're gonna make me maintain the evergreen wall. I think I shared a picture with how big the trees do get, and they get to be like 30 feet high. So that area is gonna be gone.
Dimitri, that's a little, Marty, that's a little tricky to enforce because it's almost like you're sunsetting the variance. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and how do you-
But it doesn't
I'm
have-
not saying no. If that's what it is, I'll accept
No,
it. I
you know-
appreciate you guys
You know
for.
what it is, if you were doing this from the beginning, you would have never put them on, we would have never said to put them on the house facing
Right.
the street. So
I-
that's
if
what I'm
we're-
just, I'm not gonna tell you to rip them all off now and put it, but I'm saying if it breaks, that would be an opportunity to make it the right way. That's all I'm saying.
Again, if we're talking about what, from the beginning, yeah,
Yeah, because you have to dig a hole.
it would be difficult to do that. I think what would happen
All right,
is
I'll
if they
leave that
did,
out.
if they did
How about-
fail, I think we'd not have lights.
How about this, Dimitri? If the lights fail, the applicant shall install lights that conform
To the ordinance.
Okay, that sounds good. Marty, does that sound good to you?
Except for what is failure? The whole thing or half the ball? I mean, what's a failure?
It means the whole thing. It means the whole thing. It means that if this thing breaks, he can't replace it with a brand new
We're gonna
one.
have to, some of this leeway, because I'm not gonna drive by your house for the
No,
next 10
and I
years
think,
looking for this.
yeah, and these.
Don't
these-
worry, there's a neighbor that's gonna monitor it, so.
Okay, so he'll make a phone call to the town.
Yeah.
All right, if that's it, let's get going because we have St. Mina's and I want to have a hard stop for St. Mina's. So can I have a motion here from somebody?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we okay the variances given to the conditions that we specified.
Okay, second?
And add in the variance for the fence height if it's required.
Yes, because I believe that a portion of the fence will technically be in the front yard, the 10-foot fence.
All
It
right,
will
so-
not, it will not. It's all behind the back face of the house.
It is?
All
Okay.
of it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that then.
Okay, go ahead, do we have a second?
Not yet.
All right, I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call.
All the board members are eligible to vote, including Mr. Giampolo, which, thank you, you just signed off on his paper. Ms. Campus,
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart,
Yes.
Mr. Luciani,
Yes,
Mr. Giampolo,
Yes.
Mr. Orfanidopoulos,
Yes,
and Ms. Costello.
Yes.
Thank you, the motion passed.
you're all set.
Can I say one more thing?
Now he's gonna write up a resolution. You don't have to be here at the next meeting, whenever that is.
That's awesome.
We'll read it and we'll finalize it and then,
I'm sure you guys don't want me here ever again. I don't know why this was so important. It's taken up a lot of my headspace for a really long time. I just wanted to share with you guys. I appreciate the diligence that you guys put forward, and I appreciate you guys weighing everything, and thank you so much for the outcome. Appreciate it.
okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, Francine,
So I come see you and figure out
item
what
number
just
2.
You will come and see me, 824 upstairs.
Item number 2, Zoning Board of Adjustment 2024-5, St. Mina Coptic Orthodox Church, 134 State Highway 34, Block 17, Lot 12, R40B Zone, preliminary and final major site plan, bulk C variances, D1 use variance. Applicant seeks preliminary and final site plan approval to construct a recreational facility. The recreational facility is not permitted use in the zone and requires a D1 use variance. The new facility will support the existing church by providing parishioners with a multi-purpose gymnasium, meeting spaces, and classrooms. The existing sports field will be upgraded
Anybody else get sworn in for this case?
and enlarged.
They've been sworn in.
All right, while she's getting that set up, we're probably going to have a hard stop sometime between 9:30 and 10, depending on how we're doing. I'm not going to go much later than 10, 100%. So I don't know how far we'll go and what's left. I know we have a lot of stuff to do. I'm going to start off with the board giving comments on the on-site.
So, and I spoke to the applicant's counsel, they have, their engineer's gonna give, once that's over, a quick overview of, I think a change in the turf, and minor comments on that, then there'll be obviously questions, and then I think the objector's counsel has to finish question in operations. And he did not, you have traffic here also?
If we
you
get
do
to
it?
traffic, we have
Okay.
traffic.
But the planner's not here, so we would not finish tonight anyway.
Okay, for the record, Jason just walked back in, and he will
s-
be now sitting down.
7:45, Mr. Burkle walked in, and he will be attending St. Mina's application.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
first, we'll start off with the comments from the board from the on-site, starting with Francine. Why? I figured I was fair. I started on that side before, now I'll start this side. You can go second, and Lori can go first. You can pass.
Okay, we did walk the onsite and it took a couple of hours, actually. It was not a quick onsite visit. I thought it was very thorough. It's difficult a little bit because there's still a lot of trees, so it was difficult, like, kind of framing some of the building, but I felt we got a decent perspective. I thank the neighbors who allowed us basically into their yard so we could get their site perspective as well. You know, for some of those neighbors, these buildings are really close to their backyard. So I did notice that, and you could see them in their backyard depending on where we were standing. I did notice that. It's hard because there were substantial trees where I believe the rec building is gonna be, so it was hard to envision like how high and what that was going to be. That was my only thing. And I'm glad traffic is here tonight, because the only other thing I noted was, obviously, I saw where we were losing spaces, and I was a little concerned with the traffic pattern and issue coming in and out, because we all got a little confused how to get there. So I was just a little concerned with the egress and ingress into that area, too.
Oh, you mean something to do, but that's covered by the state, because that's a state
No,
road.
more the traffic, like.
Inside the
where
parking lot area?
spots- Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we can talk about it. Jason,
I'm going to pass for now.
you're passing?
For now, yeah. I'll speak
Okay.
for-
John?
Concur with what's been said so far. What I would add to it was I think I was a little concerned with how some parts of it might be a little too close to the edge of the street. As you come, when we began the walk, I'm trying to think how to better
You
identify
mean
that part
the
of it.
setback from the street from 34?
Correct.
Are you talking about visually or just physically that it's too close to the 34?
A little bit of both.
Okay. Because visually, we could fix that with shrubbery and trees, but moving the parking lot, that's a different story.
Well, no, I think then it's really more so just visually.
Okay, visually, okay. Is that it?
That's all I'm going to add right now.
Okay, Angela?
So I agree. It was a very thorough walkthrough of the property. In regards to the neighbors, I again thank the neighbors for going on their properties. I did notice that when we were on their property, the closer we were getting towards their house, the more visible the area seemed to be. As of right now, it's obviously very open grass, so it's hard to kind of visualize buildings there. But as we were getting closer, I think one neighbor, I was on their porch at one point. I feel like if there were buildings there, I would definitely be able to see it. So concern there is, as I'm getting closer to the house up on the porch, if I'm now upstairs in their bedrooms, which we were not obviously, how are those buildings going to affect that there, especially when there's windows and whatnot. And then I think the neighbor that was closest to 34, we were not on their property, or at least I wasn't on their property. But I think that's where, if there were lighting, from what I understood, where the lighting poles were going to be, that's where the neighbor that it would probably affect the most. So I think that would be a little problematic for me, would be
The
that
soccer
lighting.
field lighting, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, because the building ends at that point, and then the last 50 feet of it, or whatever that is, it was open.
Right,
But
right.
isn't that building, that farm stand building is there too, blocking it? There's a
Is
farm
that still
stand,
there?
old
Still going to
building.
be there? That
What?
farm stand building will still
It's
be there?
staying, it's staying there,
It's
yeah.
staying there.
So
Okay.
that's where they're circling it with the
And
mouse.
will it be as high as the?
It's not as high as.
Yeah,
No.
because I thought that the new building would shield the light, but the existing one maybe wouldn't be as high to shield anything.
Well, we can discuss that with the applicant. Okay, is that it?
That's it for me right now, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I noticed that the boundaries to the neighbor's property, particularly one of the properties.
You don't have the mic
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry.
Slide it and put it right on the front of you there.
Okay. Yeah, the boundary to at least one of the neighbor's properties was kind of open. I mean, the trees were blocking up high, but not down below. And it would seem like you would need to do some substantial improvement to the screening for that property at least, and maybe for some of the others.
Okay.
That was my opinion.
That's the only comment you have?
Well, that, and I wasn't sure about the height, of the 50-foot lights, I don't think that's reasonable.
All right, well, we can talk about that too, but the applicant's listening to everything and their engineer. You want to go, you have some more comments, John? Go ahead.
Sorry, two things I forgot was, when we visited the neighbor's property, looking from the neighbor's property, I think that a lot of the trees already do an almost fair job of covering up, a lot of it visually. But I think if it were either some more trees or some more tall shrubbery, that could be. I'd be a lot more comfortable if there was some more trees or some more taller shrubbery. The use of the drone during the walkthrough I thought was very useful for us to see how high the structures would be, and whether or not the trees and shrubbery would kind of shield the neighbors visually. And the other thing that I recall observing was that I think when you're at least one of the houses, like the 9 White Cedar Lane, is that you could still see kind of right into some of the upper floor windows. So in terms of what's visual to surrounding neighbors, so that's what I was going to add.
So white, that would be the ones on the bottom, the one on the angle, where the angle
Correct.
of the grass is, yeah. Yeah, I saw that too, yeah. Okay, Francine, you want a shot?
Yeah, I have some of the same concerns that have been said. I know the first thing that impressed me on the walkthrough was how close the soccer field is to 34. Not very far at all. And not only for how close it is, but then fencing, protective fencing. I mean, visually, it just doesn't appeal that we're going to have that. It's very close to 34, that soccer field. Also, the structure is very close to the property lines of these neighbors that have had trees, basically very little activity going on. And now you're going to have a building, and you say, well, if the activity's going on in the building is one thing, but then the height of the building, if people are looking through the windows, we're taking away from the privacy of those people that are abutting this property. And also, there might be kids hanging out outside the building. Okay, now we have a new situation where there's kids, and you may say those kids legitimately could be there, but there's a noise level associated with that and everything like that. I noticed a couple of large trees are coming down in order to build that building. There's one particular one. Trees do a lot. Trees absorb water, drainage. They also are natural sound barriers. You start taking down those trees and you put up buildings, and now we have a different situation, which I am concerned about the neighbors. So my concerns are noise, activity, privacy, height. This is all stuff that once was open land to these neighbors. And it's not a small building. It's not a small complex that you're asking to build there. Next to what is residential homes that should be afforded privacy. Also, a lot of those trees that were there, I could see through a lot of the trees bordering the property. I could see the people's houses from there, their porches. So this is my concern.
Jason?
You know, I'm going to echo a lot of my colleagues on the board here, their statements. You know, I'm always for the existing neighbors of everyone in Homedale. They bought their homes, you know, the last 10, 20, 30 years. To me, this is a significant quality of life, you know, detriment to the neighbors. So we're impacting the neighbors, the existing neighbors there, their quality of life. They're seeing an oversized structure that's, I believe it's 2 or 3 times the size of the church that's there right now. You know, we have the turf field issues, the environmental impact. I believe, you know, getting into the stream that's nearby there with we've always had concerns about turf fields and the runoff from that. So I still, you know, I'm going to listen to all the testimony, but I still have reservations about voting in favor of this application.
Well, Jason, okay. All right, thank you, Jason. Okay, now it's my turn. So I agree with everybody, what everybody has said here. It's, the question will be what can be done about it and if we want to do anything about it. But obviously, if we were going to go forward with this, the screening has to definitely be addressed because the neighbors were so kind to let us go on their porches, and like somebody said, that high up looked like it was pretty thick, but down low you could see right underneath. So you would have to put lots of shrubbery there or something to give them their privacy. But I'm still concerned that it is close to everybody's house. You're right about that. But the question comes, this is a permittable use. And, you know, unfortunately, that's what happens when, and I don't want the neighbors to get too excited about this, but when you have open land, unless it's something that's preserved forever, you always have a risk of something getting built there. And if it wasn't for a church, it could have been something else because it's 34. So the question is, if we approve this, do we approve it to mitigate the effects on the neighbors? And obviously, if we deny it, it won't be an issue. So I'm kind of torn in the middle with this, which way we're going to go with this. And I guess I want to hear the rest of the testimony and see if there's anything that could be done differently. Obviously, I was here when we did the parking lot. If at that time somebody would have told me that in the future they wanted to build something like this, I would have said, put the parking lot on that side and put the building in the middle of the property so it's further away from the owners. But we're not going to rip up a parking lot now and move everything around, because you certainly could have put that whole building further in, closer to the stream, to that other area there, and it would have been even a lot further away from the property. But, you know, at that time, I had no idea that anybody would have built a building. We were just approving a parking lot for the parishioners at that point. So that's my comment. So,
Okay, based on what Dimitri just said, can I get clarification? Because you said this was a permittable use, and I was of the opinion that that was part of our determination, because it wasn't just a given permittable use.
So that's something I was about to say to all of the board members, is that there's still a lot of testimony to be heard, including the planner. And I'm not, you know, just here to toot my own profession's horn, but this is an application that, as the many applications you get before this board, where planning testimony is very crucial here for a couple of reasons. Number one is that this is a house of worship. St. Mina's is clearly a house of worship. It's a conditionally permitted use in the zone. When this application first came in, due to the size of the building, due to the lack of information we had about, you know, the activities in the building, whether it would be open to the public, you know, we had some questions and slash concerns over whether or not this was a, you know, a customary accessory part of the house of worship. We've gotten a lot of testimony over the last many months. You know, my opinion at this point, which their planner will put their opinion on, my opinion is that the applicant has proven their point that, and I will say that if this was not a customary accessory use, they may need a D1 variance. So, for example, when we got this application, we were like, is this gonna be just like open to the public for athletics? Like, what's this gonna be? Is this an athletic center? And in that case, it may have needed a D1 because it was not permitted. House of worship, D3, conditional use. The applicant has put on testimony basically stating that this will be only for church members. And there is case law that gives fairly wide latitude to houses of worship for what is part of their ministry and what's part of their activities and what constitutes accessory uses. So that said, you know, I think the applicant has put on a lot of testimony on that, enough for the board to make a decision. We can discuss that after their planner. I'm not going to give my opinion until after their planner opines on it, but that was the initial question about whether or not it was a permitted use or not. So, Gloria, if that helps.
It does.
And the other thing I just want to mention is that, you know, it is conditionally permitted, and houses of worship are a inherently beneficial use per the municipal land use law. So there are, again, wait for their planner. They'll go through all the conditions, or the balancing test that's used for that case, and we can also discuss that more later on in these proceedings before you hear that testimony.
So I think the general confusion, probably with Lori and Francine and myself, is in the summary here, it says the recreational facility is not permitted use in the zone and requires a D1 use variance.
That should be changed. That's not my, that goes back to the very beginning of my letter. My letter never specifically, I never noticed that before in the description. My letter specifically states that the applicant has to put testimony on talking about the nature of the use, and that if it's determined that it's not part of the house of worship, then a D1 variance may be required.
Maybe. So we have to just rewrite that description over.
Yes, that,
So can you
thank you.
please get with her, Kate, and rewrite that thing?
And
so
where
it's-
do
Yep,
we get,
absolutely.
excuse me,
We'll
where do
update.
we get clarification of what is permitted uses for house of worship? I mean, if they opened up an auto repair shop there
Well,
to
that's
service their members.
Francine, that's what their planner has not yet testified.
We haven't heard that
Their
yet.
planner will discuss all of that, and I'm happy to answer questions for you. Their planner will probably provide case law, you know, there's a whole bunch of things like that. But, you know, I will, you know, just, so I'm not sure if since the applicant hasn't really made any, they've made revisions to the plans, but they haven't made any major revisions, so I'm not sure if I've actually redone my letter since the first hearing.
All right, so it's okay, we're not gonna have a
Yeah,
planner
and-
today anyway.
I
And
know.
I guess just a general question, Marty or Kate. So the current master plan of Homedale, what does that permit on this land right now?
Houses of worship are a conditional use in every zone in the township of Homedale,
They could put it anywhere,
as long as you meet
but-
conditions.
A recreational facility.
if it's connected to, it's part of the church accessory use. Like they said, they have church teams that play other, so that's considered part of the church. It's an
And that-
activity of the church.
And that was why the applicant, you know, unfortunately, the operations testimony came kind of later in this application, so there was still some questions, but they put on substantial operations testimony about that. And then their planner, reason the planner goes last is because the planner takes all of the other testimony and wraps it up into a package to present to the board for your consideration.
Right, and that'll be next year, we'll hear that.
Yes, and you know, when you say the master plan is, it's the zoning, you want to look at the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance is what dictates it.
Thank you, Kate.
I'm sorry, just one question.
Go ahead, Angela.
Who is determining that it's a permitted use? Is that us based on the testimony that we've heard?
Yes.
So it's not
ahead,
guaranteed a
Kate, answer
permitted
that.
use yet?
It's the testimony that you haven't heard yet.
Okay,
also.
but we're the ones making the decision on that based on the testimony.
I mean, I'm here to advise you on it.
Right.
You can ask questions of the applicant, but it comes down to whether this board, you know, is depending, I don't know what case the applicant's gonna put on. I have a feeling they're going to say this is part of the house of worship and therefore a conditionally permitted use. But that's all part of this board's analysis
And
here.
we can
This-
discuss it, all of us, and see our feelings. Okay, any other comments? And then I'll open it up to the applicant to continue his presentation.
So, Mr. Chair, we, at the last hearing, we've completed the operational testimony, and you opened questions to the public only to cross-examine the witness, but Mr. Simon did not cross-examine him, so in a moment, I'll turn it over to him. But before I do that, I wanted to have Mr. Seawald, our engineer, update you on proposed changes to that soccer field. We're not in a position to respond to your comments tonight that you made for your observations, because obviously we'll speak to the client, and we may at some point supplement our testimony to deal with some of your comments. But we just need a moment. I don't know how long
No,
Cross
that's
will
okay.
take.
Go
but
ahead.
Just so we can get the
He's
soccer
very
field.
patient, he's relaxed over there, he's waiting patiently.
So first, first identify yourself so the record's clear.
Josh Seawald from Dynamic Engineering.
And you're still under oath, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No problem. I'll be short and sweet. Again, good evening, everybody. So we listened a lot to the board members and the public at the last time that we were here in September, and there was a lot of discussion about stormwater management and the turf field.
And
The app-
lights, and lights.
And the lights. The first thing we're to discuss is the turf field. The applicant has decided to remove the turf field component, and we will be going with natural grass. So there was a lot of discussion about stormwater management, the little black beads that come along with the turf. So the turf has been eliminated. The soccer field that you still see on the exhibit that's on the screen will remain the same size, scope. It's just going to be grass area. What does that mean? It does not change the zoning. There was a lot of discussion with Kate and I last time if that changes the impervious coverage or not. It does not. So whatever we have testified to previously and what is referenced on the plan is the same. However, what it does do is it provides a very nice factor of safety for the stormwater management, because we modeled the turf field previously as 100% pavement. Now that we are turning it into a grass field, it becomes pervious, right? If it's just regular grass. We are not changing the stormwater design, though. We are going to leave it exactly as is. So it means that the stormwater facility now is a little bit over-designed. We now have almost an acre of factor of safety that is tributary to the rest of the facility. The third and final thing we wanted to end on tonight is a reminder, because we've been on a lot of meetings, it's been over a year. There was at one point testimony that the lights that were initially at 50 feet were dropped to 40 feet. And I heard chair member over there brought up the 50 earlier today. We just wanted to remind the board, the applicant at a prior hearing brought them down to 40 feet. So turf going to grass, stormwater staying the same, but it's a better factor of safety now that there's less development associated with the stormwater system. And a friendly reminder, it is at 40 feet for the lights.
So, we talked about the lights versus the neighbors, and that definitely would be something to consider. Is it possible that on that side, those lights could be even lower to be blocked by that farmhouse?
We will have to discuss that with the applicant,
Okay, something to add to your list of things.
certainly. But
Okay.
we wanted to advise, Mr. Chairman, we heard you and the public at the last board meeting, we discussed, and the soccer field will be going to grass.
Okay. And of course, just you heard the other application, we probably have a cutoff of something like 10 o'clock or something like that, too.
Yeah, we had testimony what the hours of operation were. They're nowhere near that.
Oh, there
Fine.
wasn't? Okay, I didn't remember. Okay,
And yeah, just to make it clear, since this is a D variance application, whether it's a D1 or otherwise, all the operational testimony, if this is approved, is what we have to live with. So every stipulation that Eddie put on the record would be a condition of the approval, and if he
Right.
deviated, we'd have to come back.
right. But as long as Marty has it on the resolution, that's what I'm concerned about, because to have the actual tape testimony is different from seeing it on paper written. So
And
we
I-
would have to go over every single item.
And I am happy to hear that you turned into a grass field. I think that's a really positive
Yep,
improvement.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm happy too about that.
I
We
just-
have to open up cross-examination of this witness.
I know, I'm waiting for that.
Can
'cause
I just correct I just want to correct the record really quickly. I just looked back at my letter. I did claim it was a D1 variance, and this is what happens when you write a letter over a year ago. So that is why that is still on
So
there.
you'll update your new
I'm going to
letter,
update
Laura.
my letter for a variety of reasons. But yes, so we should change that description as well. But I just wanted to just say that I was incorrect when I misquoted my own letter.
Okay.
Which happens to be dated 12/17/24. So.
Thank you, Kate.
A long application.
Mr. Simon, why don't you come up here, sit down where it says Angela, bring the mic over there so you can get comfortable. Because I think it's gonna be a long, oh, you're gonna bring it to you there? Okay.
So, I just want to make a couple, before I ask
No, no.
No.
How about now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yep.
And I'll eat the mic. So, any development application, including one that potentially could be a D1 use variance, D3 conditional use variance, there are standards, and ultimately, the board, as one of you appropriately stated, thankfully, is that it's up to the board to ultimately make determinations as to what relief is required of the applicant for any particular application, and whether they presented the proper proofs for approval of that application. Now, respectfully, no board professional should be saying, this is what it is based on what I've seen so far. In fact, and I heard Ms. Keller, who I respect greatly, kept saying, well, as soon as we hear from the planners, or referencing the planners, I'm sorry, the applicant's planner, you'll hear this, you'll hear this. There is a public, there is opposition. There is opposition professionals that intend to provide testimony to this board with regard to various aspects of the application. And I respectfully contend that no board professional should be saying to you, this is what it is. I believe that it meets the standard for an accessory use for a house of worship. What a professional can do is say, this is the standard that you need to consider when you're listening to the testimony of the applicant's witnesses, the public's witnesses, and this is what you have to think about or what you have to consider. But respectfully, I do take offense when I hear, oh, well, I've just, based on what I've heard from the operations testimony, this is my conclusion. I think that that's improper, for the record, and that rather that any board professional, including those who work with me when I'm a board attorney, say, this is my advice to the board, as Ms. Keller appropriately stated in part tonight, but it's up to the board to make that determination, including whether ultimately certain aspects of this application qualify as an accessory use to a house of worship. And if you look at the definition of a house of worship in your ordinance, it does not talk about any accessory or ancillary uses. So the board needs to ultimately determine, is whatever the component we're going to ultimately talk about in the end, and there's a lot of components, as you know, are they customary? Are they incidental? Are they subordinate to the house of worship based on the definition in your ordinance? I'm not taking a position right now. I just sat here and I listened to the comments, and I just wanted to state that, and I'm asking, in summary, that the board keep an open mind and listen to all the testimony and evidence before deciding whether, something is a D1 or a D3, and then getting to whether they meet the burden of proof for whatever the variances that you determine are required for this application. The other thing is, I think, and Kate, I apologize if I got this wrong, I may have gotten it wrong. I thought that you submitted a report from like June of 2025.
I think there is
Two.
anyway.
There's two.
Yeah. So I heard 2024, and I just
No,
wanted to
the first one
correct
was
you.
2024.
Yeah, no, Marty, you're right. But I
June
just wanted-
11th. June
June
11th.
11th, that's right.
And Ms. Simon, let me just say for the record, I mean, this board does what you said. They listen to all the testimony.
I know.
Our professionals are very professional. I think she made a comment that we have to listen to the planner. I think your comment
yeah.
probably protects the record for yourself, but I think it was a little bit overboard. My personal opinion, from this board, you sat through the last hearing, how detailed they were, and they listened to everything. So I don't think this board our professionals don't give their opinion for the board makes up their own opinion.
And
They've
that's
done it
correct.
on every application, everything.
I
And
respectfully
I
don't think
ditto
Ms.
what he said, and I would be defending this board, that we definitely don't make any prejudgments.
No,
I make it a point to ask my professionals' opinions about what was said. And we still have to hear from the planner, and she said it many times, and we want to hear from your planner if you got one too. But we haven't made any decisions on anything.
I just wanted the
And we're
record to be
still
clear on
listening.
that, whether you
Okay.
think it's overboard or not.
No.
I felt it was needed.
I think it's overboard, but anyway,
And
it's okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not, Mr. Simon.
You don't have to make a
well,
comment, Kate.
I
Don't-
just want to correct one thing he said. I
Okay.
did not give my opinion. I said that I believe the applicant has provided enough operations testimony for the board to make that judgment.
Okay.
I just want to clarify with that, and I also want to state for the record that there is a letter, I forgot, I did update my letter 6/11/2025, in which I do say that this is up to the board's judgment as to what variance.
You said, because you on the record said this is a permissible use, and
Okay.
you threw me by using that language, so I think you should clarify that we don't need.
Different people say it's up to the board to determine if this is a D1 use variance or a D3 use variance. So how is the board supposed to determine which variance we're?
By the witnesses of, we're gonna listen to the planners of, 2 more planners are gonna come up.
It's all, Jason, it's
all in the
also
letter.
all set forth in that letter.
Read the letter.
Dated 6/6/11, which I probably will update for next year, especially with the new changes to the field. But we go through, why there's a question, what the different proofs are, et cetera, et cetera. So, and when the time is right, I will advise the board on how to properly consider
Thank
this
you.
application.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Simon, do you have any other questions?
Josh, your turn.
He said 1 or 2.
So do you have a lot of questions?
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Simon, do you have a lot of questions?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, that's why I figured, let's salvage.
But we already did the public, so you're the last one to speak on
Well,
this.
no, so,
No,
all
this
I'm
is on
doing
his-
right now is just questioning
The
what
engineer.
Mr. Seawald
The
just
updated
testified to.
engineer.
The
I'm
updated
not going
engineering.
back.
Okay.
Hold on a second. So, Josh, regarding the change from artificial turf to natural grass, my recollection is that when you testified as to the artificial turf, that you went into some detail as to how the water from the turf field, artificial turf field, was going to be captured underneath that field, correct? And it was
Yes.
some sort of, and I remembered it as some sort of like tub system, or, correct?
That's fine,
Just-
yes.
Right, so just remind us what it was. 'cause
Sure. Underneath the turf system, there's gravel and then under drains that all connect to each other and then connect into a conveyance line that goes past the recreational facility into the above-ground stormwater management. Your memory is correct.
And so, how does the change to natural grass impact that system? Does it all go away? And if it all goes away, how does the stormwater go once it hits the ground? And have you done testing about the soils, et cetera?
So we have testing all throughout the property. Right behind the building, as you know, is our septic facility. And then another portion of the site also has our infiltration basin. So essentially, that entire underground system goes away. The undergrounds go away. The underground tub system, as you mentioned, Mr. Simon, it all goes away. So then what you do is you take the grass area, you grade it to the corners, and you'll have some yard inlets that connect to the same conveyance system that was previously designed and testified for. But the reason you model it as grass is because the majority of the water is going to go through the grass and go back into the regular dirt and the groundwater table.
Have you done any testing? I know you said you've done testing throughout the site.
Mhm.
Have you done any soil testing actually in the area of the now grass soccer field now that you're converting it?
No.
And in terms of maintenance of the grass field, just
Regular grass maintenance.
regular maintenance, there's no artificial material that has to be put on the grass? And is it going to be lined?
There will be paint on it, yes.
Permanent paint on the grass?
Regular grass field paint. If it grows, you cut it, and then you have to repaint it.
And then in terms of your clarification on the lights being brought down to 40 feet, have you done any type of evaluation about glare, dark sky impacts from lighting at that particular height of 40 feet?
There was a lighting plan submitted associated with the 40 feet.
And I just, sorry, that testimony of the 40 feet was offered by the architect, I believe, and he just wanted to remind the board about because he heard 50, but he wasn't testifying at all about the lights, other than to remind the board.
Okay, so you don't, you weren't part of any determination to go from the 50 feet to 40 feet that you
No,
just
Mr.
described? Okay, nothing further, thank you.
Wow, he shocked me. Okay. All right, so now we'll open it up to the public. Hold on a second. We have to open up to the public to ask you questions on switching from AstroTurf to grass, the comments you just made today. So if there's anybody that's not represented by Mr. Simon, have any questions, and it's limited to what the engineer testified today. We already had everybody talk last time. So does anybody have any questions for the engineer on the switching from the turf field to the grass, and what was the other thing you talked about?
Just a reminder that.
That's a reminder.
No, that's it, so that's the only big change. Okay, I see nobody raising their hand, okay, now you can move on.
So we're going to bring our operations witness back up so that he could be cross-examined.
Okay. We do the public for him, I
We
can't,
did already, yeah.
And just to remind, you're still under oath, so.
yeah.
And for the record, our professionals are still under oath too. We should have said that at the beginning.
Okay, so you want to sit down there? That's fine. Take,
It's okay.
that means he's going to be there for a while.
Could be a booby trip.
Take the mic with you.
It comes off the stand.
Take it off the stand. Oh, you wanna, okay, you could do that too. Do we wanna have a refreshment break? Should we go get some cupcakes and popcorn while you're doing this?
Mr. Chairman, you can do it.
Yeah, we have homemade cookies up
Oh,
here.
no. I did parenthetically, I gave somebody whose birthday was like years and years ago, the board, and my assistant decided to send that person cupcakes. It was my worst night of my career.
Oh,
I
okay.
got destroyed.
They didn't like
After
the
that, I was
cupcakes?
like, no more cupcakes or cookies or
Okay.
anything for me,
For the record,
professional.
this board works better with cupcakes.
All right, go ahead.
So, sir, good evening. Thanks for coming back here. So, what is your official position with the applicant?
I'm a congregant. I'm a member of the Board of Deacons.
And
for
what is
board.
what is the Board of Deacons? Just
It's,
like a Board of Trustees?
It's a group of congregants that are regular and voted in by the congregation to make decisions on financial and logistical matters,
And how many are on the board?
including the fathers and a full deacon of the church. I think we're 11, so we're 6 lay people and the rest clergy.
Are there separate officers?
We have a treasurer, we have a secretary. You know.
And with regard to your operations testimony, how often are you actually at the property?
2 to 3 times a week.
And other than being a congregant, what are your responsibilities as a board member?
As a board member, it is to make, as I mentioned, to help make financial and logistical decisions, not any sort of ecclesiastical or spiritual decisions. That's left to the clergy. For things like this project, for the parking lot project as well. We meet monthly. We talk more frequently than that, but we vote on things officially once a month.
And with regard to this particular project,
Mhm.
did you do any investigation of other houses of worship and their facilities before proceeding with this particular project?
Yes, so we actually, as mentioned before, our current use for our basketball teams is in another church with a gym in
that's-
Homedale.
And that's in Homedale.
Yeah, this is the Greek church in Homedale.
And what's the name of that church?
Yeah, I don't know that. It's a
Kimi
Greek
Sisters
name.
Theotokos.
Thank you.
Go ahead, write that down.
And what's the address for that church?
20 Hillcrest Road.
Thank you.
What is it?
20 Hillcrest Road.
Yeah, right off of Homedale Road.
And that's where your teams are currently playing?
Currently, we use that facility for our basketball practices and games, yes, home
And-
games.
And
And then we're also when we do road games, we travel to other locations and other churches, for example, in New York and Staten Island and East Brunswick, have their own facilities as well.
And for purposes of, how many teams do you have right now?
Our church?
Yes.
On the order of 6 or 7 teams, including girls-specific teams, boys-specific teams of different ages, junior high, high school, college.
And what, for those 6, 7 teams, what's the season that they play in other words, from month to month?
Yeah, games are from May, June, July in the summer months. Practices can start in the winter, in the spring. Those are usually once a week for an hour for each team.
Okay. And they start, what, in like April?
It could be earlier than April.
So sometimes they start in March?
But it's not that every team commits every week. It's just they can start earlier. So we've had teams start as early as spring, March, but some teams don't start at all until the summer.
And some teams don't start until the summer?
Some teams won't.
Okay. And so the teams will practice either 0 times a week or 1 time a week until the season starts, and then they have
Correct.
games May through July.
Correct.
And then the season starts up again the following spring at some point.
Correct.
And with regard to, other than the 20 Hillcrest Road property, are there any other gyms where you guys play your home games?
No.
And at that facility, I know you're proposing, 2 basketball courts and then a court that is perpendicular to that court in the center, right? Correct?
Yeah,
Under,
I mean,
under your current plan?
The proposal is it's one main court, but the space could be used to have 2 practice courts side by side, adjacent to each other, but they would not be 2 games side by side.
Does the 20 Hillcrest Road facility, do they have more than 1 basketball court?
No, they have one court that has very, very limited space around the bounds of the court.
Bless you.
Yeah.
You mean for spectators and
Yeah.
things like that? Is there any grandstands or stands or seating areas for that court?
No, there's chairs.
So when a parent, let's say, comes to watch their child participate in a game or a practice, they sit in those chairs surrounding the court?
They sit in the chairs, yes.
And
There's also a stage.
there's also a stage where they can sit.
Yeah.
Do you recall how many chairs roughly are at that facility?
Not exactly, no. No.
And
They're removable chairs. They're
so folding chairs.
folding chairs, yeah.
And when you you decided to create the facility that's a subject of this application, did you model it after any particular recreation facility that you visited?
We looked at where facilities fell short more than we looked at what worked. And so we used what we needed as more of a model. And we saw where a lot of facilities regretted decisions they made, and we've spoken to folks who had been a part of those decisions, and where it was very difficult to actually perform the duties of having a game with the appropriate parents and children there. And we looked at our needs and modeled it after our needs.
So do I take it that you did not model this proposed recreation facility after any other facility that you're aware of or visited?
It's not a model after any one facility, no. We've looked at a lot of facilities and looked at our needs and used all that information.
Are you aware of any, and by the way, did you look at property in the area that as a possibility to build the recreation facility on?
No,
So just this land, correct?
just the land on our property. Well, yeah, our land.
And you're not aware of any recreation facility that you're proposing here of this size anywhere in Monmouth County, correct?
No. There are plenty of high schools and that have. I've watched my girls play varsity basketball at Homedale High School. Many schools, including Homedale High School and visiting schools, have the ability to have multiple courts or a single main court.
What about a house of worship facility? You're aware of any?
In Monmouth County,
Yes.
we have, let's see, in East Brunswick, there is grandstands in East Brunswick Church, the facility there.
And when you say grandstands, you're talking about stands?
I mean,
where-
there are bleachers to
Bleachers,
watch, to
right?
watch one main game, yes.
Right. And-
At
and-
the
and-
St. Mary's East Brunswick Church.
And at St. Mary's, is that one court?
It is one court, yes.
Any other house of worship, sports, gym facility that you can think of in anywhere that you've visited
In Staten Island.
in Staten Island?
Yeah, we play some road games in Staten Island as well.
And in
There's-
Staten Island, what facility are you thinking of?
Oh, I don't know the name of it, but we play a lot of games there against some of the New York-based teams, and it's quite a large facility with multiple courts.
And is it a church facility?
Uh,
Well,
I don't know. I'm not aware. No.
And with regard to whether it's the East Brunswick facility that you're talking about or the facility in Staten Island, do those facilities also have kitchens?
I'm not aware.
Okay. Or locker rooms with showers?
I genuinely don't know, because I would not
Yeah,
use them.
That's
No,
okay.
no.
And what about event space also attached, like you're proposing here to the gym area?
I'm unaware.
And so when, you talked about a moment ago assessing your needs and modeling this after your needs. What were your instructions to, I guess, the architect as to your needs for recreation space? What were the instructions?
We have hundreds of children that attend every week that are part of our community, where in order to serve them properly, we have to go outside of our church property and rent facilities and use other facilities. For example, the church we just mentioned for basketball, schools in Aberdeen and Matawan for our church plays that we put on by the youth. And we wanted to, in order to serve them more properly, we wanted to build our own on our property.
How many church plays do you have a year?
One.
And those are the plays that you're referring to that you look for outside facilities.
Yeah, we use outside facilities for those, currently.
And have you, when you communicated with the architect and they drafted the plans for you and explained to you that the plan that was drafted requires, various variance relief, was there a consideration of reducing the size or the scope of the project?
I'm here to speak about the operations. I don't.
You don't know?
Yeah.
So
But
that wasn't part of your discussion?
Well, I'm here to answer questions on how we're going to use this space. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm asking you as the person who communicated with the architect. You communicated with the architect regarding
Correct.
the design for this project, correct?
Yes.
And you let the engineer and the architect know where on the property you intended to site the building and the soccer field, correct?
We could not just determine exactly where it went because there were certain constraints. So honestly, we were given options, and I don't believe there were many options. I don't think even more than 2 options, maybe even not even 2, but there were many constraints given the soil and the parking lot and other things.
So let's break that down,
Yeah.
okay? When you say soil constraints, what are you referring to?
I don't remember the details. What I do remember is that we had discussions about location, and there were not many options given constraints, environmental constraints as well as existing structures.
What did those options entail?
The location.
Right. So what locations did you, first of all, consider for the building and the soccer field?
We've discussed things like in the field, it's off this picture here, but on the right. But
So right now, this is what's up on the screen is the site plan rendering.
Yeah.
Sal, I don't know if that's marked as an exhibit or, I'm sure it is.
I think it's been,
So shown on this particular plan?
To my recollection, we discussed many options. We very, very quickly landed where we are right now because of many constraints that I just don't remember right now what those constraints were.
And what were some of the options that you considered before finding out about these constraints that you don't remember? If you recall them today.
Honestly, we landed so quickly on where it is right now in the image you're seeing that I don't even remember all the options.
Was there a consideration of placing the soccer field and or the building or part of the building to the right, I guess that's west of the parking lot?
Where are you referring to? Can you show us up there?
West. I mean,
To
west
the,
would
to
be
the right, to the right of the parking lot.
here.
Yes.
That's environmental sensitive area 5.
Right.
Well, hold on. Did you determine that that area is not possible
I
for
believe
development?
so.
That's operational. He's not an engineer.
No, I'm just. Well, look, he's testifying as operations, and he's essentially the point person in terms of determining where on this property the recreation facility and the soccer field were going. And all I'm asking is whether they considered, in consideration of my clients, other locations on this property to site either or both. That's all I'm asking. And if you
So
don't know, you don't know.
Just give a yes or no answer.
Yeah,
that's all.
I don't remember what the options were. I just remember there were a lot of constraints, and we landed where we are right now on this image very quickly, early on in the process.
And was there a reason why, actually, as the chairman noted, that you didn't consider relocating the parking area essentially to the left, closer to the residences, and the soccer fields and the recreation facility to the right, further away from the residences?
And we did not consider that.
And is there a reason why you didn't consider it?
There's no reason.
No reason?
The parking lot, to dig up the parking lot that we,
Yes.
in the current, there's no reason to consider it.
That you decided that, correct?
No, you're forcing him to tell you things that he never considered.
No, I'm asking
He-
whether he did or not. If he didn't, I'm moving on to my next question.
He said no, he didn't.
He already said no a couple times. You're just rewording your question.
And have you been at a facility associated with a church with other uses in addition to the basketball court, such as a lobby area, mezzanine area, and other amenities that you're proposing with this recreation facility?
Have I been to facilities where there's a court and a mezzanine area, for
And,
example?
and classrooms and a kitchen
All
and an event space all in one building?
Have I been to personally
Yes.
this exact, the
No.
exact-
A building that has similar type of uses.
I don't recall. a building
And
like
with
that.
regard to the farm stand, you stated, I believe, that it was to remain
Say it
in your
again.
testimony, okay? And that's going to be remaining as storage?
Correct.
And it's not going to be reactivated as a farm stand or market?
No, it's going to be remaining exactly the way it's being used today, as storage.
Okay, and what kind of storage is it? What's in there?
I actually don't know what's in there right now. I know we've stored play equipment in there, like the annual play, costumes and props and stuff like that.
And do you know what the capacity is of the existing church that's at the property?
There are 2 sanctuaries, I believe, somewhere between 400 and 600 maybe in one of the sanctuaries, somewhere between 200 and 300 in the smaller. But I don't know exactly. It's a range.
That's number of seats? Or
People, yeah.
when you, wait.
Number of people in the building.
So in other words, is that per 400 to 600 in one sanctuary and 200 to 300 in another sanctuary?
That's maximum capacity, yeah.
This capacity of seating area?
I believe so, yeah.
And there's a basement at the,
There's a basement, yes.
right? And what's the capacity of the basement area? Do you know?
I mean, there's classrooms down there.
So I think
There's
you
about 10.
testified there's 12 classrooms in the basement.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
is there a meeting or event space down there too?
There's not a event space. There's there's a common space that you go into the classrooms from. And there are sometimes some chairs there, but it's not a event space. We don't have events down there.
You don't, so other than the 12 classrooms in the basement, there's no other reason
No.
to be in the basement?
Nope.
And the total number of classrooms at that building is how many?
There's 12 in the basement. There's 4 upstairs. But we use the main sanctuary for classrooms right now. We split up the sanctuary and students will go into the 4 corners of the sanctuary. The smaller chapel will be used as a classroom sometimes.
So on Sundays, when you have services,
Mm-hmm.
do you have classes
After the service.
after the service?
Yes.
And when do the services take place? At what time?
The last service will end around 11:30 a.m. And so classes will start after that.
And so at 11:30, when the services end, do the classes take place in both of the sanctuary areas?
Almost every corner of the church, there are classrooms. I mean, there are classes being conducted.
So you have, in the 4 corners of both sanctuaries, you have the classes, plus you have the 12 classrooms in the basement being used?
Correct.
And how many other classrooms are there in the building?
There was, I mentioned 4
4
or
others?
5. 4 or 5 there's a link that connects the 2 on the second floor.
So that's 17. So you have 17 classrooms plus the 2
Well,
sanctuaries.
we combine a lot of classes together that should not be combined, and that's why we have the need for the new church,
Right.
or the new
And
building.
how many students per class?
It's overpopulated now. It could be anywhere from 20 to 40 or more even.
20 to 40 students per class.
Not every class, but some classes can be that large, yes.
Okay. What's the average size of a class?
I don't know the average size, but we have 300 to 500 kids from preschool to college that we serve that are active.
And how many kids per weekend on average?
300 to 500 kids
On average?
on average. Those are active.
On Sundays?
Saturdays and Sundays. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So is the 300 to 500 kids, is that throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yes, but they come on 1, 2, or all 3 days.
But do you have any records as to attendance by the students?
I don't have any personally, but they do take records. Yes, the teachers do.
And that's available for, the church
Uh,
keeps that information?
The church has it. Yeah.
And in terms of the use of the parking area,
Yes.
okay, do you have records as to how many people are parking in the parking lot on a?
Official records, no, but
Yes.
I have my observations.
What are your observations in terms of the parking lot usage on a Sunday?
It's used. I would say anywhere from half, from 40 to 60% capacity on a normal Sunday.
But not over 60%.
On a normal, like average Sunday?
Right.
No, it's about right.
And what about other days of the week?
Much less.
Like on a Saturday?
Saturday's going to be half that or less.
And what
And then
about-
we have weekday services that are much, much less, in the order of dozens of cars, a couple dozen.
So on Saturday, it's more like, what, 20 to 30%?
Yeah.
And you talked about the number of 300 to 500 kids. How many parishioners are members of the church?
When you say parishioners, you mean those who teach Sunday school
No,
or
no,
serve?
who
or
attend
just
services.
Oh, congregation.
Yes.
Will attend services or just
Well,
parishioners?
how many worshipers are there, at some point throughout the week, are members of the church?
I don't have an exact number, but it's over, I would say throughout the week, over 1,000.
So your membership is over 1,000.
Like it's active membership, it's over 1,000, but on paper, obviously, it's more because you have people who just show up on the high feasts or on the holidays.
But on average, you have over 1,000
Yes.
worshipers per week?
Yes.
And have you made any observations as to do most of them come on Sunday and other days as well?
Well, Sunday is the most frequently attended day, but Saturday, and we have weekday services as well. Almost every day of the week in the morning, as well as some evening services like a hymns class on a Wednesday or a Bible study on a Friday.
And you mentioned, I believe, in your direct testimony about lectures that you sponsor from time to time, correct?
When we say sponsor, I mean, we have folks giving lectures, yes.
And what's the attendance for those lectures?
It'd be similar to who would attend on a Sunday or a Saturday service on any one of those services.
Which is how many people?
The capacity of the church, so anywhere from 200 to 300.
And how often do those take place?
Outside our typical sermons during a service?
Yes.
Very infrequently. Once or twice a year. I mean, it's not frequent at all.
And with regard to activities currently at the church, what's the latest during the week that activities run to?
Well, during the summers, we tend to go to 10 o'clock.
Okay. And why do you go till 10 o'clock during the summers?
It's a little later than during when the school's in session because the kids are not waking up early for school the next day.
And what kind of activities are taking place between 8 and 10 p.m. in the summers?
Well, depends on the day of the week. So on a Friday night, there's Bible study and fellowship meetings where the kids attend class and they may hang out for a little bit and then they go home.
And if this application is approved, will those events take place in the new facility?
Some of them will, yeah.
And so that's Friday. What other times or days will activities run past, let's say, 8 o'clock at night?
Well, we've talked about the soccer clinics that we have that today go till sundown. When the sun is down, we don't have the lights. So you could conceivably understand that it would go a little later if we have lights.
Okay,
And those
have
are
you-
only during the summer hours. Yeah.
Right. So during the summer, and when you say the summer hours, are you talking about from just June to August?
Yes, exactly.
And so from June to August, if this project is approved, you intend to have soccer activities under the lights after sundown until what time?
Maximum 10 o'clock.
And so
It would be, I think we have it 2 days a week right now.
2 days a week.
Yeah,
So that's 2 days a week in the summer.
correct.
So 2 days a week and let's say, is it fair to say, based on your recollection, that sundown in the summer is approximately 8 o'clock?
In the beginning of the summer, it could be later, but yeah, towards the end of the summer, 8 o'clock.
8 to 8:20 or 8:30, depending on the time in the summer, right?
Yep.
So we're talking about 2 times a week for a maximum of 2 hours a day, correct? Or 4
2 hours
or
extra a day, you
right,
mean?
correct. So the lights are going to be on 4 hours a week for 12 weeks. Is that fair?
Given our current use, yeah.
Okay. When you say current use, do you anticipate that use increasing, intensifying?
No.
Are you willing to commit to not exceeding that limitation in terms of number of hours, number of days, use of lights?
Yeah, that's how we use it today. That's how we intend to use it in the future.
Do you know how many parking spaces you currently have?
Approximately 500.
And do you know, were you part of the board or the church at the time that the applicant last came to this board for relief?
For the parking lot?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you recall why it was that, how the number of parking spaces was determined at that time? If you remember, if you recall.
Not exactly, but I do know, based on the high holidays, which were the number of fingers on one hand throughout the year, that the entire parking lot would be utilized, and so we wanted to plan for that maximum capacity.
So when you say the high holidays, the number of times is on my hand.
Yeah.
Is it 5 or is it less than 5?
I could name them for you.
Yep.
The Feast of Nativity or Christmas, which is early January. We have Good Friday or Great Friday, the Feast of the Resurrection, or Easter. Yeah, Palm Sunday the week before that, which is a big holiday.
Wait, people are, I apologize, but people are like yelling out answers. I just want the applicant, or the witness, if he doesn't know, he can just say, I don't know. Just hearing
Okay.
People yelling out things, so.
So they understand. While since you stopped, how much more do you have?
I got a while.
So we're never gonna hear the traffic engineer is what you're saying?
Look,
Okay.
if you want me to, I can put a line in my notes, and you can hear the traffic testimony, and I can continue this another time. Happy to do that.
How much more do you think you have, estimating?
I mean, I have
15 minutes, half hour?
probably more like a half hour. But I'm happy to, whatever the board wants to do.
What do you guys wanna do?
I would
Keep going?
rather him finish
Keep
this
going?
and
Yeah,
stop
I think
by-
so.
I'm with Lori. Finish.
going.
Yeah, finish.
Keep going.
So yeah, five times.
5 times a year. Okay. And with regard to the actual number of cars that you mentioned in terms of kind of percentages, how full the parking lot is, are there any type of records that the church keeps to substantiate that?
No.
And during the, what I'm going to call the high holidays, is that
That's
fair to
fine,
say?
yeah, yeah.
Right. Are there still spaces available, or are people double parked, from your recollection?
Maximum capacity. Very few spaces available.
And what happens with regard to if there's inclement weather? Is there some sort of queue QUEUE, or lines set up for drop-off and pickup?
In front of the sanctuary, in front of the church, there is a circle that you can drop off or pick up congregants.
And under the proposed plan, if there are activities at the, what I'm gonna call the recreation center, and there's inclement weather, and there's need for drop-off and pickup, where is that gonna take place? Have you, if
I'm
you
looking
don't
at
know,
that.
it's fine.
Whose screen is that?
I don't know off the top of my head. I was just going to look at the plan,
Oh,
but I don't know.
I wonder if we could make it bigger, if that would help.
Maybe.
That's what I was gonna ask. Does that help, Mr. Simon?
What's that, I'm sorry, Mr.
To
Chairman?
look the front,
Yeah, no, I just want him, I just happen to be looking at the plan,
there you
and,
go.
and I know that, you know, when there's inclement weather for houses of worship, you know, there's usually a drop-off and a
Yeah.
pickup, you know, if it's snowing, if it's raining,
I get you.
somebody's elderly, et
So
cetera.
is that that area for, that cement area in front of the building, is that where the entrance is, right?
Yeah, the car would be driving through this area, and then the congregant would walk in this area.
Right, but I mean, if there's a queue or a lineup
Mhm.
to drop off or pick up students, parents, whomever, is there any thought given to the fact that any type of queuing in that area are going to be, you know, blocking parking spaces? Has that been discussed to your knowledge?
I don't know.
And in terms of the kids they're currently playing soccer, how many are doing so during those summer months that you testified to?
On the order of 30 to 40 kids of different ages.
What's the age range?
Elementary school, junior high. I don't know if any high school kids show up. Typically younger kids.
So, what, like 8 to 15 years of age?
Yeah, maybe even younger than that.
Okay, and they all play together?
Yeah, that's kind of, yes, they all play together.
And so if this project is approved with the lights, how many kids are you in? Is it the same number of kids?
Yes,
Same age group?
same age group.
And is the size of the soccer field changing from what it is right now?
Yes, it's larger.
It's going to become larger.
It is larger, yes.
I'm sorry.
It is larger, yes.
The proposed plan is larger.
The proposed plan is larger than what we have today.
Okay. And by what kind of magnitude, if you know?
The dimensions for the enlarged or the larger field are designed for a 7v7 setup, which is, I mean, I actually don't know the answer to the percentages of how much larger it is. I don't know the current dimensions
Okay.
of the current field.
Now that I remember, I think you said in your testimony that right now it's like 5-on-5 or 5v5,
Yeah, it's a smaller field.
right? So you're going from 5-on-5 to 7-on-7?
These are just numbers we use to give people an order of magnitude, but you know, if we might throw more kids on there. If there's 8 kids who want to play, they can, you know, it could be 8v8, it could be 9v9, but the field is designed for 7v7 if it were to be used more formally.
And when you're talking about these, the summer nighttime play,
Yeah.
are you talking about clinics, leagues?
No leagues, just a clinic run by the servants of the church, right? The folks who serve these kids in Sunday school. They're the same folks who take them out in the field and run through drills and clinic-like activity.
Right. And
And then they play a
those-
scrimmage.
And they play a scrimmage
Yeah,
after
they
doing
put
a
on
little
like
bit
a
of-
penny and they'll play a scrimmage.
Right, and then are there whistles and horns and?
There's no horns. There may be a whistle, but there's no horns or no magnification of
No,
sound.
no amplification.
No
of sound
amplification, thank you.
That you're proposing, so there's no
Correct.
scoreboard, there's
Correct.
no PA system,
No
nothing
buzzer,
like
no
that.
PA system, no scoreboard, yes.
And the the recreation facility includes, by my count, 14 showers. You're not aware of any church facility with a gym that has that many showers, do you?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, okay. Is there a reason why you have that many showers and toilets for this facility as proposed?
Well, after a game, there will be approximately 25 players that need to use the facilities,
Facilities meaning the showers?
potentially.
Are there shower facilities at any location that you play at currently? Home game, away game?
I don't know the answer because I don't use them.
And are you aware of any of the children in your 6 or 7 different leagues using shower facilities after any game they participate in?
I do not know the answer to their activities after the game.
And with regard to, let me start with this, with the soccer field, okay? Other than, and I believe Mr. Seawald commented that it's going to be painted or lined for soccer.
Yes.
Correct? Is there going to be opportunity for other sports or activities taking place on that field? Because there's a lot of different sports. I can name many of them, but are any of them anticipated to be conducted on that soccer field that you call?
Not formally, but if they want to throw a frisbee around on the field, they can do so. Yeah.
And there, other than the soccer at night in the summer, there's going to be no other use of that soccer field for any other activity at night throughout the year, correct?
At night throughout the year, like with the
I'm
lights on.
going to start with at night with lights on.
No planned activities with the lights on other than what we just talked about.
And when you say planned activities, is there going to be an opportunity for unplanned activities to take place under the lights at night throughout the year beyond what you testified to?
By definition, I don't know what's unplanned, so I don't know.
You don't know the answer to that?
You're asking me if there's going to be any unplanned activities, and by definition, I don't know the answer to
that
that.
are going to be using the lights.
Mr. Simon, I know you have reason for asking a lot of these questions, but a lot of the board members are not understanding the reason why all these questions are being asked.
I'll talk about this area. Obviously, no, we'll talk
No,
about.
I mean, like, you're talking about showers, so what's wrong with having a couple more showers than somebody else has?
It has to do
I
with,
don't see the
has to do with the
relevance.
size of the building.
So you're trying to say that,
Well, I'm not-
that they're not needing all this space and they have excessive compared to other churches? Is that what you're trying to point?
That's one point, yes. And I'm asking right now about the lighting,
Yeah, I
which is
get-
of incredible concern to my clients. I'm trying to
I get the lighting.
understand specifically how often they're going to be using the lighting, for how long, and what activities are going to be associated with the lighting. That's exactly what I'm asking about.
I just wondered if you could try to abbreviate how you asked the question so we're not going and going and going and going.
I'm trying to be efficient, so.
You follow what I'm saying?
Okay, so other. Sorry. So other than the soccer that we talked about earlier this evening,
Yes.
is there any other intention to utilize these 40-foot lights for any other activity?
No intention.
And with regard to the use of the lights as being proposed, if you look at the site plan, can we just demagnify this just so? Oh,
What do you
okay,
want to
yeah.
see, the soccer field?
Right, perfect, yeah. So with regard to the soccer field, and the proposed location of the lights, is there any consideration to be given to not having the two light poles that are facing to the left or to my client's residential properties?
Like on this side?
Yes, and instead, because it's only 7 on 7, and it's a limited period of time, both in terms of hours and times of the year, just to have those the 2 light poles on the, what I call the left side of the soccer field, facing toward the existing church.
I think the lighting.
Have you looked into that?
We have not, because it would not light up the field appropriately, from what we understand from the.
Architectural question or
Yeah.
engineering question, not for him.
I'm just asking him if he considers.
We have not considered it, no, because it would not make it functional.
Okay. And that was told to you by someone?
Yes.
Who was that?
We received lighting plans, given the proposed lighting as the minimal needed to light up the field.
You said that the recreation facility and the soccer field will not be rented out, licensed, or otherwise used by any non-church organization, correct?
100% correct, yes.
And that includes any type of nonprofit or other church organization that may want to use your facility for a reason?
Correct.
Mr. Simon?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an unfair question. What if another church had an issue with their basketball court? For whatever reason, they have no heat in the gym. So you want that applicant to deny another church the use of their basketball court because we're making statements here today?
Well, wait, I'm not, let's be clear, I'm not making any statements.
Well,
I'm
that's what it-
I'm asking questions.
Right.
And if and I asked him, what are the plans? And if the response to my question was the statement that you just gave, that's the answer. I'm just looking for information.
Right.
I'm not judging.
I know, but it just seems like I don't want to box them into anything like that. That's not a fair thing for other church, for them to commit to only having their church use it. What if St. Benedict's needs it for some reason? They come and they ask, can we use our church? Oh, no, we're not allowed. So I don't want that to get out there like that. That's
Well,
an unfair
yeah,
thing
well,
to ask them that.
Well, I don't think it's unfair to ask respectfully.
Okay.
I think that what
So
I'm trying.
you should comment, no comment on that.
So no, I think the answer more generally is that's their normal business operation. Is there an example somewhere in any business where you're gonna have an unusual situation that might deviate from that? But
Right.
it's an anomaly. It's not gonna happen regularly. So even if his testimony is not gonna change, but if that were to happen and they allowed another church in, we don't think that would be a violation of the approval if the approval is
That's
granted.
what I'm trying to say.
But our intention is to only have our church use it. That's what I heard you ask, and that's how I answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to get information. With regard, I think you mentioned that you host a summer camp. Is that true?
We have in the past, yes.
You have a past summer camp. And how many children would be attending that summer camp?
Anywhere from 40 to 60 children, but we haven't done it every year.
And where do the camp activities take place on the campus? If we can just maybe zoom out on this plan, just so the witness
They're
can
mainly inside the building, the main church building. Anything outdoors would have been on the soccer field, or there's a space next to the church on the other side, on the south side. that you can't-
I thought I saw on the architectural plans a reference to a playground area.
There's a little grass area with a playground on the south side of the
Okay,
church.
And can you,
Like, it would be here.
under the proposed condition, if you get approved,
Mhm.
I thought I saw that there was a playground area to, I don't know if that's north or south, but,
No.
towards the roadway. There's no
No,
playground being
nothing.
proposed?
In fact, we don't want anyone on this side of the building.
When you say the side of the building, what side of the building?
Where the mouse is pointing right now.
That's north.
Yeah, is
Okay,
that what
so-
you're asking about?
Yeah, well, I'm asking first, we can go there then. So
Mhm.
the camp is not going to include
No.
any activities like where the septic field is
No.
or to the north of the building, correct?
No. Is
And,
that-
and
yeah.
your testimony is that there's going to be no playground in that area or adjacent to the building or adjacent to the soccer field, correct?
Correct.
And I asked you about the outdoor soccer field and whether there's going to be other sports, and you answered that. What about for the indoor basketball courts?
Yeah.
Do you anticipate, other than using them for basketball, do you anticipate using them for other sports as well? or
They could
activities?
be, yeah.
Okay, and what are some examples that you anticipate?
Maybe volleyball or other indoor sports with similar size court. But volleyball would be one.
Okay, and will that be throughout the year or only in certain times of the year?
Very occasionally. It's not organized at all. It would just be for recreation, so to speak, but not as an organized team or league like basketball is.
And is it fair to say that the catering facility and kitchen will be used throughout the year?
Yes.
Okay, and the number of participants that you anticipate for, or the users for that area is how many?
Well, it will be used for catering to the Sunday school service when they have their, what we call spiritual days. So there's hundreds of kids, but at a time, you know, it's usually age groups. So it's like 3rd through 5th grade, which may be slightly less than 75 kids, and then a 6th through 8th grade, which would be another 75, and they would be on different days. So that's one use of the kitchen, to serve those kids. And then we'd also have baptisms and funerals and other religious events. There's usually a meal afterwards, an agape meal, where the kitchen would serve those congregants. And that could be anywhere from, 50 to over 100.
And so for example, the baptisms and the
Mhm.
funerals, people from the outside not affiliated with the church may be in attendance as well.
Well, friends
correct?
and family of the congregants could attend that, yes.
And the, how many classrooms are you proposing in total if the facility is approved, between the 17, 18 that are in the existing church plus what's being proposed in the new facility? Do you know?
I would have to count, but I have the plans in front of me if you want me to
Okay,
count.
do you recall offhand approximately?
I think it doubles it, but I don't know exact number.
And are you proposing any fencing adjacent to the residential properties to the north?
It's not officially proposed, but we're definitely open to that.
And have you thought about what type of fencing or heights or anything like that?
Not specifically, but, again, we're open to the idea of having a fence there.
And I know that you're proposing the netting around the soccer field. I assume that's to prevent the balls from going towards Route 34 in the parking lot area?
Right.
Okay. Have you considered any other orientation of the soccer field so that you don't need to use that netting to prevent balls from going towards the road?
Given the current constraints of the building location and the parking lot, I don't think we considered any other orientation.
Are you aware of any other church with a soccer net that's being proposed here?
A soccer net?
Yeah, the 20-foot tall soccer net.
I'm not aware.
And you're not aware of any church outdoor recreation or other facility with lights, correct?
I'm not aware.
And with regard to the lighting itself, that once you said not past 10 o'clock,
Yes.
is that going to be turned off manually? Is it going to be automatic? Is it going to be
It's
on
a
a
good
timer?
question. I don't know the answer to that. But we would be open to automatic if that was available.
Mr. Simon, how you doing? It's 9:15.
I'm flying through it.
Are we gonna end at 9:30 and be finished with your testimony, with your questioning?
I'm going to try.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's when we're gonna have a hard stop.
Okay. Did you do any research to determine the number of spectator seats that you need for the soccer area?
Yeah, I believe it seats approximately enough for a couple of parents to watch the 40 to 60 kids play, with, some leg room to spare, not cramming them in.
And do you know what the capacity is?
Somewhere between 100 and 200, I think.
100 and 200 outside,
Outside.
adjacent to the soccer
Correct. Yes.
field. And so that's the seating for the soccer field.
Mhm.
And what about inside for the basketball court? What's the seating capacity inside?
I actually don't know the answer off the top of my head.
And- Give me a second. And with regard to the number of classrooms that you're proposing, the approximately 40, is that fair to say?
New classrooms?
Total.
I think so. That sounds about right. Yeah, I can get you
So,
the exact number.
are you aware of any other church in the county that has that many number of classrooms?
I'm not aware, but it's what we need.
And do you know the capacity of each classroom in terms of how many students you can fit in each classroom?
Well, we would like to have not 40 like we have today in some of our classrooms. So, but the exact capacity of each classroom, I don't know.
How many classrooms have 40 currently?
I don't know the exact number. But we do combine classes quite a bit. I was in charge of a particular service where we combine classrooms every week.
And there's no intent for the church to operate a full-time school, parochial or otherwise, correct?
No plan.
And do you currently rent out the property for any use to a third party, including the parking lot?
Do we currently rent it out? No.
So, do you permit, even for free, license agreement or otherwise, any third party from using any portion of your facility, including the parking lot?
Not that I'm aware of.
And is there any circumstance where the recreation facility will be in use at the same time that the existing church facility will be in use?
No.
And I believe you said that in terms of staff for the recreation facility, it won't exceed 4 employees? Am I wrong on that?
I did not testify to
Okay,
staff.
Then I apologize.
Yeah.
Then, what is the intentions regarding staffing for the recreation facility that's being proposed?
We informally had talked about it. We did not have any hard numbers, but we had formally talked about hiring 1 or 2 people to maintain.
Just to maintain the facility?
Yes. But we have not really decided or made a decision on what that number is or in what capacity, but
And the plaza area that's on the south side of the property, what is that intended for?
it's just like a foyer area for people to walk in to the building.
Mr. Chairman, just give me one more minute, I think I'm done.
You got one more minute.
And okay, I have nothing further at this time. Thank you.
That's it?
Mr. Chair, I hate to do this, but I have to have one follow-up question of this witness, just to clarify something. But
Well, you can. I give you another 2-3 minutes.
that's
You
all,
wanna-
I won't have more than that. So, there were many questions from Mr. Simon comparing this to other churches and what your knowledge was. The churches you travel to well, first of all, when do you travel to other churches so that you would have familiarity how they operate?
Well, so the league we play in for the basketball for the youth is only for the Coptic churches in New Jersey and in Staten Island or in New York. So the only road games we play would be at facilities that are attached to those entities.
So when you answer the question about familiarity with bleachers and showers and everything else, is your answers limited to those Coptic churches? They're the only things you have personal knowledge of?
Correct. That's correct, yes.
That's it? Wow.
You said 2 minutes, I wanted to do it in one.
Thank you. Okay, so board members, we heard a lot of questions and testimony here. Do you guys have any questions that you want to bring up to the applicant?
I just want clarification, because I want to make sure I heard you right. You indicated even on the high holidays that the parking lot, I'm sorry, which you thought had about, you said approximately 500 spaces, was at capacity. But then you said there might be a few other open spaces?
It depends on the holiday. I know that like on Good Friday, there are probably 0 open spaces.
Which leads me to my next question. When there's no more open spaces, and people still want to attend, where are they parking?
They just won't attend.
They're not parking on Route 34? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not aware of where they'll be parking. But
Are they parking in the residential neighborhood right around the corner from
I
your
am
church?
not aware of any of that.
But it could be happening, you're just not aware of it. Is that what
Theoretically,
you're saying?
anything could happen, but I am not aware of it.
Well, when you have Good Friday, do you have the Homedale Police Department directing traffic?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
Most of the time, though.
No, that is not an accurate statement. I live literally around the corner from this church.
So they
That is
don't
not
have
an
any
accurate
police there when it's the Good Friday, or?
Not all the time. His answer was a fair statement. When you
Okay.
answered it for him, you said most of the time. That wasn't an accurate statement, because remember,
Well-
Good Friday, there's a lot of churches around, so everybody can't have that kind of staffing. So it is not accurate to
Well,
say
I'm
most of
only-
the time.
I'm just assuming that because if they have that much traffic on 34, they need safety, and that the police department would be there during the Holy Friday service.
I am telling you,
So-
because I don't attend church on Good
Okay.
Friday, so I am out driving on that day, I'm telling you that is not an accurate
Okay,
statement
so
for this particular
let
area.
me ask you a specific question. Good Friday, do you usually have from the past, the police department or some professional company directing traffic on 34 into your parking lot?
It happens often, but it's not every time. But
So you're
yes.
saying not every year, but one year you skip and one year you would?
And actually, it happens more in the evening or the nighttime services. We've seen it more with the Easter night and the Resurrection Eve night, the Nativity Eve night. They'll be there more when it's dark, but I think also on Good Friday, but it is not every time. It's more often than not, but not every time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair question and a fair answer.
And going back to the parking, are you saying you've never seen anybody parked outside of your parking lot in front of your church?
No, I've seen people park, outside of a parking space, but I have not necessarily seen it on Route 34 or on the neighbor's street, which is what you asked. Yeah. So for example, we have a grassy knoll, and I have seen a car on the grassy knoll next to the parking lot, but I have not seen it on 34 or on the neighbor's street.
And with this new building, are you taking away from those 500 parking spots? I don't recall. If you don't know the answer, I apologize.
I actually
I'm
don't know
sure it
the
was
answer,
said.
yeah.
I'm sure Kate can look that up.
Kate, is that, do you know if they're taking any spots away?
Our traffic engineer can go
Oh,
through
okay.
Okay.
All right,
Can-
that's next time.
I think
obviously.
Mr. Simon had a
Can-
question.
I just want to ask just a follow-up on that.
On
Can I-
which?
About
Oh,
the parking.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, do you know, in terms of where folks park currently for services,
Yes.
do the attendees first park in the parking spaces closest to the existing building?
Yeah, so they first park here, and then they park here, and they park here, and then they park here, and the last like zone, call it, would be here.
Right. So they park basically as close to their destination as possible.
That's correct. Yes.
Right? So, with regard to the use of the soccer field, where until dusk, let's say in the summertime, do parents park, I assume, closest to the soccer field? Because that's their destination at that point.
If they're coming just for the soccer, then that would be a good assumption.
Are they using the parking lot to the east of the soccer field near where the farm stand is located? Yes.
Sometimes that is used, yes.
Right. So have you thought about where folks are going to park at night for evening events at the soccer field? Are they going to be parking? They're going to be parking closest to the field, correct?
I don't know where the exact entrance or egress is to the field, but I'm assuming it would be as close to the entrance and the egress of the field.
And do you know whether they're going to be using the ingress and egress onto the roadway that's closest to the farm stand or closer to the church? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right, nothing further.
Okay. So there was a lot of questions he asked. Some of things kind of make sense. We obviously, if this gets voted to go through, we want to try to mitigate the effect on the neighbors. So one thing that I was thinking about, and I think I mentioned on the onside, is could the building on that side towards the neighbors be painted color or made a surface that was, try to blend in a little less so you don't see it standing out, standing up? Something to think about. I know we did something with the windows, and then I think we talked about lighting, so maybe whoever did the lighting could think about another way to make the lights maybe not face towards the neighbors. I know we talked about shadow boxes, I know we talked about lowering the lights. Those are things we have concern. And then shrubbery, an increase of shrubbery at least on the low line, and then basically if you stand over there where the building's gonna go and you look towards, I think it's Brisbane down south, towards the bottom, I remember seeing openings, big openings in the trees. So some of those areas that, I know you said you might redo the plans maybe by the next meeting, which will probably be sometime in late January, I'm guessing. So maybe we could do that. Screening on 34, somebody mentioned something about that, I don't remember who it was. I don't know if he made a presentation about that, I can't remember. But that's something that you guys could look at, you know, evergreen trees or something on 34 to hide the soccer field from that. And then lastly, I know this is a big one, and I don't want you to spend a lot of money. Is there any way for you guys to think of a way to redo the location of the building, maybe flip-flop it with the soccer field, and that might bring it a little further away from the neighbors? I mean, I'm not gonna tell you to rip up a parking lot, obviously, but maybe if it went forward in that soccer field and you flip-flopped it somehow, changed the angle a little bit, maybe that'll even bring it away a lot further from the other neighbor's property. So I don't want you to go and spend engineering and doing the whole thing. Just a simple, see if you could slide the building, make minor changes to maybe make that work. And I'm making these comments based on all the concerns that I heard from Mr. Simon and some of our board members. We're all concerned about the impact on the neighbors.
And I just want to add, if I could, Mr.
Go ahead,
Chairman, in the spirit of what the chairman was just saying, to mitigate things,
That's
is
gonna
it
take-
possible to think about keeping it to one story so it's not as visible to the current residents? I know the gymnasium has to be a certain height for the basketball and everything else, but that second part, so just, you're minimizing it, so that's kind of like meeting in the middle here as a compromise. You're minimizing the impact to the neighbors that are going to see this from their backyards in the summertime when they're in their pools and doing activities outside. So just something to think about. Is it possible to reduce, I think Mr. Simon had mentioned just the size of the structure, is the size,
height,
the
the
height,
height.
well, the height, the size, the kitchen, like, there's a lot of things in there that just
Yeah,
to
but
really
that's a
think.
total redesign of it.
Well, no, and I'm saying, but maybe there's some kind of middle compromise here. It's still having what you want, having this recreational facility, but maybe not as large and so, so much of an impact to the current neighbors there.
Right. And then lastly, before we close this, I have to open it up to the public. I hope there's not too many questions. But anybody that's not represented by Mr. Simon, if you have a question to ask the applicant on operations on all the things he
They had the
testified.
chance to do that at the last meeting.
Did we do operational last time?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yes.
Okay, so then we did that.
And
All right.
we heard all your comments, but there is a rather robust landscape plan that was testified to. You're not
Yeah,
going
I
to
know,
remember
I-
because it was some time ago, but we'll look at that and see if it could be
Yeah, well,
supplemented.
based on our on-site, I know you heard everybody's situation, so I don't remember, like, we should have had that plan with us to see where you were putting the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't remember, and I don't know if anybody else remembers. Am I alone with the landscaping? Do you remember what they proposed?
They're on the plan.
Yeah, okay, we'll have the engineer come back.
You could see, I'm there, but you won't know what they are. You'll just see
Yeah,
that
but we
there's
need
plan.
it further down too,
Understood.
probably.
Yeah.
Because that's the house we were at. All right, I think we're all burnt out.
We need a new date.
Okay, so we're gonna carry to January 7th without further notice, which is our reorg meeting. No testimony or anything will be heard. At that meeting, we'll do reorg and we'll just pick another date. January 7th is reorg. It's reorg. I know it's Christmas.
Nobody has to show up.
No one has to be here.
Nobody has to show up. All we're gonna do is at that meeting say, she's gonna tell us, our secretary will tell us, it's open on what date, and that's the date we will make it.
Once we do the calendar.
Yeah, we have to approve the calendar, and it'll probably be January 21st, I'm guessing. But we
Yeah,
will.
See if he's available.
Do we have an idea, just so we could make
Is
sure?
did you start putting anything in place just for
I
the heck
can't
of
do
it?
January.
We have to approve the calendar at the meeting, so that's why we can't give you a firm date, but we could talk about it.
I would refrain from commenting regards the dates because TC dates are not approved yet.
Yeah, I get it.
So I would say let's carry till 7th and then we'll be in touch with,
Yeah, but we have to
Mr.
give them an idea to
Alfieri.
find out if professionals are gonna be around. So these dates that we wrote on this tentative calendar will be this way unless something major happens, so.
that's what I'm saying, so I can't
But you don't
say
ha-
for
But what
sure.
I'd like to do is tentatively, there's nothing on anything right now, so tentatively, we could give them an idea, January 21st. And maybe they might say
I
nobody's
can't
available.
do that.
So then we'll tell them.
What's the February date?
Okay, probably February 4th or February 18th.
Yeah, 18th he can't do. I know Sal can't do 18th. January 4th.
February 4th.
February.
Yeah, we
Okay.
discussed this
But that's
previously.
not, that's just a tentative, we're
Right.
not locking that date in until our meeting and we do.
So we could tentatively get February 4th going.
Sounds
I have two conflicts on February 4th
All right,
already.
so we're gonna have to, we'll figure, so what are the choices today, assuming that,
Nothing then.
no, let's go back. January what?
January 7th, 21st.
No, not the
No,
7th.
January
Not the
24th.
7th.
21st.
Or
That day we're gonna do
2/4.
interviews.
Okay, 21st?
Okay, may I, through Chair, so it would be January 21st, March 4th, March 18th, since February 4th and 18th doesn't work for you.
All right, well, we may make it work, we'll see.
Okay.
Sal, what do you have left? Just traffic and planning?
Which day is
Traffic and
that?
planning.
That's gonna take a whole meeting at least.
No, no.
January 21st.
I am not available on the
You know, well, that's
21st.
part of it.
Oh, Kate's on here the 21st.
So it won't be
I mean,
January.
I can send someone else from my office because it sounds like planning won't go forward that night.
No, we're gonna,
Oh, but
we're
Sal's
gonna
not
get
available.
planning done, because traffic, I don't think is gonna take 2 hours,
Okay.
so.
Can we
Yeah,
do
'cause, you know,
planning
'cause-
next?
And traffic.
You need traffic before planning.
Oh, okay.
No, he can finish both.
So we have February 4th, February 18th, March 4th, or March 18th, all tentative, obviously.
Yeah.
February 4th, cannot do, like I said, February 18th I am available. What was the next date?
March 4th.
I think we should do it February 4th.
He can't do it.
That's the idea.
Love you all, it's all good.
At some point, we gotta have a date.
I can joke like that now.
All right, in March dates, there's plenty of time for everybody to jump.
I would just ask if possible, because they're important, they're important witnesses, so I'd like to be here. February 18th, wide open.
What'd you say about the 18th?
No, he's not available.
I'm away, but
Oh,
we
you're-
could figure, all right, well,
So
who
what
knows?
about March 4th or March 18th?
Yeah.
Those 2 dates
They
work?
both work.
We're really pushing this.
How
That's-
about we'll just do March 4th or 18th?
March 4th, I'm on a plane. March 18th, I'm available.
All right, Sal, could you do March 8th?
Wait, Sal, can you do February 18th? You can't.
I'm away, but I mean, I could get somebody to cover. We'll have to figure it out, I don't know. It's either gonna be
Alright, so
February
listen,
18th
you
or
guys-
March 18th.
So you guys gotta figure this all out before our reorg, and then
Yeah.
talk to our secretary and work
Mr.
on a date.
Alfieri and I will talk, we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and then talk
confident.
to our secretary after reorg.
I'm not speaking there.
Before reorg, try to do it before January 7th, so on
We will,
January
yes.
7th, we
We
know what
definitely
date
will.
we're gonna carry it to. Okay, that's it. All right, what's anything else left on the agenda? Okay, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Before we motion and close, I just wanted to thank you, the board, our professionals, for a wonderful year. Happy holidays, all of you, and thank you for your support. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy
And now,
holidays, everyone.
Thank you, Irina.
Motion and second, please.
I'll motion to close the meeting.
Thank you.